start. I love him drawn on the inside. Eric Cancel should send him away from there. This horse is the best horse in this race on dirt, and maybe even was interesting trying the turf for the first time. In the pick 5 that I'm playing to try to get back my pick 6 money, I'm going to single the 1, Baron.
All right, we'll see. That race obviously changed a ton. It looks like Baron or maybe 3-2 zone. We'll see. Fauci did not run bad in his dirt debut.
No, I don't disagree. Fauci didn't run badly in his dirt debut. Obviously, Baron's a horse a lot of people leaned on. But, 3-2 zone ran very, very well 2 races back. I mean, he rode a good rail when he won 3 back, but not 2 times ago. He was very, very good in that race. That was a strong pace, and he just buried the field. Kind of took a shot last time, but I agree. I mean, Baron is the horse to beat, but for me, Greg, I bet Baron last time, and I feel like the last time was the time horse. Now, not that this isn't a theoretically easier field, and also, is it possible Thin White Duke wakes up after he ran so poorly in his return? He seems a little slower than them, but, who knows? One thing to keep in mind, the track does seem somewhat similar to yesterday, with speed doing well, but I don't think we've seen a really strong sample. We've seen a lot of short-priced horses and logical results. In the last race, I know that horse was more forward, and maybe it hurt some of the favorites, but maybe the favorites in the last race just weren't very good, Greg. I don't think any of them were that reliable.
We've already had a 40-1 shot win on today's card. You can get some crazy things happen on tracks like this. Makes it a good reason to play.
Well, we should mention that the rider of the 40-1 shot was riding in just his 2nd career start. Coming up the rail at 40-1, Moreno Hernandez, a 10-pound bug rider. And, Greg, I don't think the racing landscape is littered with riders that won one of their 1st or 2nd career starts.
Yeah, Omar Moreno Hernandez, and he got doused as well in the rain, as tradition would
It's Omar
dictate.
Moreno Hernandez, is that
Yes.
it? Okay, thank you. I only have an O. I got
Even
Moreno O.
That's okay. Even money, we're going to learn his name. He has
4
more
to
wins
5.
to come.
I'm sorry. You got one horse claimed off of the Nodas. We'll see if he can run back to it. And the other horse just seems sort of mediocre. Not saying they can't win, but this entry is massively overbet here. I bet the 5 to win in box 5-8-11. 5-8-12, excuse me.
Good luck in this late pick 5. It begins here. Mile and a 16th, 50,000 starter allowance on this sloppy, sealed racetrack here on our Sunday card. Of course, we're with you again tomorrow for Memorial Day coverage, and on Tuesday with a Belmont Stakes draw. Right now, we set it upstairs. John Imbrial to get us started in the pick 5.
In the gate. And they're off. My First Grammy from the outside. Parade Field is there. And now moving up is First Line. Tallage is down at the rail and gaining ground in between horses is Obsessed. Tallage has the lead. Obsessed is running in 2nd, and First Line is now in 3rd. Parade Field on the outside runs in 4th. Kid Bourbon is next in 5th, followed by My First Grammy in 6th. Then it is Indian Counselor, who is moving up at the rail from 7th. In between horses is Mr. Tip, and farther back is Mr. Kringle in 9th. The quarter in the slop in 23 and 3/5 seconds. It is Tallage, challenged here on the outside by Obsessed, and the two of them are heads apart for the lead. Just in behind is First Line, who runs in between horses. On the outside is Parade Field. Kid Bourbon is down at the rail, the half in 47 and 2. My First Grammy, extreme outside, is next in 6th, followed by Mr. Tip, Indian Counselor, and Mr. Kringle. It is Obsessed with a narrow lead. Tallage is down on the inside in 2nd. First Line being asked for more now in 3rd. Parade Field is on the outside in 4th. Now Kid Bourbon splits horses and is coming on. 3/4 went in 1:12. Here is Kid Bourbon. Here is First Line. And now those two are right together with My First Grammy on the extreme outside, and then Mr. Tip and Indian Counselor. It is First Line and Kid Bourbon. First Line with the lead. Kid Bourbon is in 2nd. My First Grammy, one last try on the outside, but First Line is going to get to the wire first. Kid Bourbon was 2nd, then My First Grammy, followed by Mr. Tip. Indian Counselor will round out the superfecta.
The Irad Ortiz Jr. effect. Mike Maker, pretty good claiming trainer as well, one of the best in the country. First Line, part of an even money entry, gets the win.
Not winning like an even money shot should, but winning nonetheless over the ridiculously overpriced Kid Bourbon at 8-1. I feel like a tough beat making the right bet, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. He got the job done, and wow, even money? I guess they were right. But you're right, the Irad Ortiz effect. Nobody else. I mean, the 13 made a little bit of a run, my first Grammy, but nobody else really did any running at all, huh?
No. 1-5, 13, and 1A, but first line outduels Kid Bourbon for the victory. Maker first off the claim for 3 Diamonds Farm. Familiar silks we see winning on this program quite a bit. And a formful start to the late pick 5. We'll have the prices when we come back as promised. We're going to talk Belmont Stakes coming up. Third place finisher in the Kentucky Derby. Hot Rod Charlie coming back from out west. And the Preakness winning rider going to be heading here to Hot Rod Chuck. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Eclipse champion Blame. Among sires with less than 10 crops, he has more Grade 1 winners than any stallion standing under $100,000, including Grade 1 winners Nadal, Marley's Freedom, Fault, Abscond, and French Classic winner Singa, plus these recent standout performers. With success on the track and with yearlings bringing up to $400,000, this proven son of Arch is truly a gold value stallion. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Bally Sports Southern California. Program's brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Our late pick 5, it is underway with a formful beginning here, even money. First line, Mike Maker first off the claim and win number 2 today for Irad Ortiz Jr.
Irad and Jose are doing very well in the rain here, the right horses and first line. I really thought I had a beat with Kid Bourbon. I mean, he looked locked and loaded behind horse with Manny Franco. Gave him a great ride getting him in there. First line just outgamed him down the stretch. A nice stretch run between those two. And first Grammy, 35-1.
Way too big a price. That horse who had an outside look to at least for sure hit the board.
The race was oddly bet at that horse being even. I know he won.
I know he won. On days like that's why it's great to play on days like this.
I agree. Just because he won, it wasn't like we're shocked that he won the race, but the reality is there was value on there. And you bet horses like Kid Bourbon at 8-1 every day of the week, you're going to do very well at the racetrack. You just won't win all of them.
This is coming up on Saturday. We're just a week away from the 153rd running of the Belmont Stakes, a tremendous group that is going to line up, including a strong West Coast contingent who is coming back from the Kentucky Derby, including third-place finisher Hot Rod Charlie for Doug O'Neill, who's going to pick up a rider who is on a hot streak right now. Of course, he was on your Preakness winner, Rombauer, as we check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, but he was on Hot Rod Charlie for that third place performance in the Kentucky Derby this year, Greg. As Flavien Prat, he was aboard too for the latest workout for Hot Rod Charlie, as it did take place in a kind of special session before the races began. Here he is working the 5/8 with older horse Liam's Pride, as he set off about a length and a half behind him from the 5/8 pole, easily under Flavien's kind of slight urging, got up sides to him, and then really just put this horse away. And I love the gallop out. I know that sounds trite and overused, but watch this horse. He responds under mild niggling there, and then as he's galloping out, the ears go up. He's loving his job. He's hitting the ground effortlessly. He's doing this well within himself, and it's just the kind of prep and workout that you want to see for a horse heading in to the Belmont Stakes, getting a lot of air into his lungs, and getting a little extra distance too for this 1.5 mile contest. And he's a horse that has that tactical speed, and I think he has the right kind of style to be effective in this year's Belmont. Also, Greg, it doesn't hurt that he is coming in off of that freshening since May 1st in the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, here's our Belmont. Thank you, Maggie. Belmont Stakes Week TV coverage. We have a lot of it. Trivia question for you, Andy. Who was the last rider to take off a horse who won a leg of the Classic to ride another?
Greg, who do you think you're talking to over here? Come on, Calvin Burrell, Rachel Alexander, the Preakness. Who do you think I am? I'm insulted.
Well done,
You know,
Andy.
I want to say to Rock about Hot Rod Charlie. I really like him. I think he's a really good horse, and I think he ran well in the Derby, and he could definitely win the Belmont. I'll tell you what worries me about him. I think his best race is on the front end. And I can't imagine with Rock Your World in here that they're not going to go with that horse. So I wonder, like, if Rock Your World wasn't in there and I thought that Hot Rod Charlie would make the lead, I would really like him in this race because I think he would gallop them all the way around the track.
It's going to be fun to see with those two West Coast horses. That battle up front. It would seem Rock Your World is going to be the speed of that group. Sixth at Churchill kicks off their late pick 4, 20,000 claiming race. Non-winners at 2 lifetime at 6 furlongs. Soros, your current favorite, 4. Michael McCarthy, Tyler Gaffleone rides. Time for our market mover. Let's go to Jonathan Kinchin.
Yeah, fellas, the Twin Spires market mover is going to be the 3-brother Aaron for one of the funniest trainers in the world, Dale Romans. This is a horse that won for $10,000 last time, maiden. Got loose that day, kind of had a big figure jump up. I kind of question that performance. Now facing winners, facing horses that broke their maidens, meaning they won their first race at higher levels. I just don't necessarily trust this horse, and I love the opportunity to try to bet against them at a short price here. So I'm going to try to beat Brother Aaron, who is the Twin Spires market mover. But if you want to bet the market mover or any other horse in this race, go to twinspires.com. You mentioned the 1 Soros down on the inside for Michael McCarthy. This is a horse that was entered in the Florida Derby at one point of his career. So it's a little bit of a fall in class down to this 20,000. But sometimes class just comes through. You might not be able to see it on paper. It might not look like the horse has any ability at all. But when they get down there with their friends, suddenly they wake up, they can get the job done. I'm not crazy about the price, and at the price, I prefer the 7 Shanghai's Dream. This is a horse that's been running at this level, was wide last time. I think Steve Asmussen does a great job of kind of finding spots for his horses, running them in realistic places, and this horse, I think, is a much more attractive price, considering I feel like he's actually shown more than Soros. Now, Soros does have that class edge, so we'll have to see what happens here. If I was forced to bet one to win in here, it would be the 7 Shanghai's Dream, who's 7-2 on the board. I think he'll probably creep up a little bit more.
Jonathan, thank you. You want to bet that market mover? Again, you can go to twinspires.com or download that TwinSpires app. Back to Soros, Andy, real quick. 2-1 favorite. Former stakes winner in the second start of his career at Gulfstream, but that form has not been seen for a little while.
He's not that horse anymore, though I agree with Jonathan. Sometimes these big drops with a horse like this, they just wake up. But his lack of speed hurts me. I actually think the alternative, and I do think Soros is the one to beat, is similar to what Jonathan said. The one I prefer is the 6 Ash Flat. I like a horse that's much more lightly raced, and also a horse that's going to be forwardly placed in this race. And I think that might help that one's chances. I hear you, Jonathan, with Shanghai's Dream, but it won for 16 with 7/3 as the second choice with no speed whatsoever, at least on paper. I'd prefer to take Ash Flat at 8-1 right now as the backup and, take a shot against Soros with him.
Gotta say, Soros, there he is, center of your screen. Looks really well.
You could claim him, Greg. I got some. I call Travis Stone right now. I don't know if it's too late, but we could. Would he fit in the apartment? Do you think the baby would like Soros? What do you think?
Well, there's the elevator problem. If it could fit in the elevator.
It could fit the whole. It might be the whole nanny problem is solved. Soros will take care of him.
As long as he can come to Saratoga.
Exactly.
Tyler Gaffalione will be aboard and drawn inside. We'll see in terms of pace of this race. Brother Aaron looks like he wants to go to the front.
I agree. I thought that the 6 would stalk Ash Flat, right?
Okay.
Who'd you think?
No, I think we're going to see some speed as well from the 5. No?
Not impossible, but you don't have a very aggressive rider, and I think we'll see. I mean, no, I'm not. Listen, I'm done guessing about how races are going to be run. I'm hoping that Bashiza is aggressive with Ash Flat because I think he has the speed to be stalking outside of Brother Aaron, or if that one's not aggressive, be in front. We'll see how it plays out. That would be my play. Small win bet on that
with Soros maybe just being better and drawn inside, we'll see if Tyler Gaffalione sends. We're set. Here's the 6. Travis Stone with the call from Churchill Downs.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Pinchos breaks well, so too does Marsack, and so too does Ash Flat, and here comes Soros down inside. Up the backstretch they go. Soros on through to the front, Ash Flat running up into second. Marsack is third. Nip and Tuck not far behind fourth. Pinchos right there to fifth. Shanghai's Dream comes away sixth ahead of Brother Aaron, who's now seventh. Digital Stars widen the track and trailing. 5 across the track with 4 furlongs to go. Soros, Nip and Tuck, Pinchos, Marsack, Ash Flat, right across the track. The opening quarter contested 21 3/5 seconds. There's 3 furlongs to go. Shanghai's Dream 5 lengths farther back with Digital Star. The trailer is Brother Aaron. Round the far turn, Soros comes away with a narrow lead, but Pinchos is right there. They're head and head off the turn together. Soros cuts the corner. Pinchos right there too. Digital Star winding up down the center of the track, and Shanghai's Dream pops outside for the final furlong now. Soros trying to hang in there with Pinchos. Shanghai's Dream rallies to the front. Brother Aaron trying to come on the scene late, but time is running out. Shanghai's Dream kicks clear. Ricardo Santana Jr. works out a perfect trip to score over Pinchos, Brother Aaron, and Soros.
Well, this horse had been making a career of running third. Today, gets a nice trip and gets the win. Ricardo Santana Jr., Steve Asmussen dropped down in class from 20.
It was hard to see a 5-horse speed duel on paper, and they won a pretty fair first quarter, especially for this type of group, and you can't work out a better trip on Shanghai's Dream to get the money. Santana, not surprisingly, another good ride and a good trip. Soros, getting the rail, they sort of had to go, and they did. My horse Ash Flat probably wasn't getting anything, but strangling him down 5 wide, not the kind of winning trip you want.
And yeah, actually, this horse had been at this condition the last couple of starts, but gets it done, and that's what a Hall of Fame barn can do for you. Steve Asmussen, nice call. Jonathan Kinchin, 7-2 on Shanghai's Dream. Well, we're going to take a break. We have the late pick 4 coming up. Core curriculum for Todd Pletcher. Debuted on dirt at Tampa. Showed some brief speed. Not much else. We'll see if second try on dirt goes a little better. Coming up. Stay with us.
Taprit. Sold for $1.2 million as a yearling at Saratoga. Taprit's victories include the Grade 1 Belmont Stakes.
The Belmont Stakes!
In his first 2 years at stud, he bred over 240 mares. Now his first weanlings have arrived.
In Show Barn, 100,000.
One of the best bred sons of Sires Tapit to ever enter stud. Classic winner and stakes record setter Taprit, standing at Gainesway.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York breds start with an advantage. New York breds run for serious green. At Belmont in Saratoga, New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
The Run Happies are running and the Run Happies are selling. From the racetrack to the sales ring, the Run Happy rally continues. Happy American fired on all cylinders, winning $115,000 maiden special weight by nearly 3 lengths, going 1.25 miles at Churchill Downs on Derby Week. At OBS Spring, a Run Happy sold for $490,000, nearly 50 times this year's stud fee. Price for success is just $10,000. Call Bernie Sams and book your mare today. The Eclipse champion Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Wagering on the Twin Spires app is fast and easy, and new players can take advantage of our $200 sign-up offer right now. Simply use code GET200 to start earning your $200 new player bonus when you join Twin Spires today, where you can bet on Churchill Downs as well as the best racing from around the globe. Plus, if you're looking for help to find a winner, check out our expert picks available in the app for every race. Twin Spires. Download the app and bet today.
We are back on America's Day at the Races. Who put that together? I like that. Well done.
Somebody more talented than us, Greg.
Play all the action with NyraBets. Go to nyrabets.com. Download the app. Have you walked across the Brooklyn Bridge before?
You know, Greg, you're going to have to stop with the embarrassing questions. Me, I'm lucky I get out of bed. No, I have not.
You've never walked across the Brooklyn Bridge?
I'm going to tell you something funny. No, I have never. I've walked over the Williamsburg Bridge, but honestly, I'm afraid of heights. I'm terrible on bridges. I don't like driving.
You
over
wouldn't even
bridges.
notice it on that bridge.
Greg.
You can
I
play.
lived in Brooklyn longer
I
than
don't
you.
like heights either.
No, I can't. I don't. Bridges scare me.
You can play in the Belmont Stakes Challenge presented by Jack Pocket, and you can win entries into the 2021 Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, 2022 National Horse Players Championships, and serious cash prizes. Registration for the $10,000 buy-in online only contest open now. Go to NYRA.com/contests to learn more. Jake Hadner, you're coming to visit next week. If you want, I'll take you across the Brooklyn Bridge.
Am I the only person in America who's envisioning walking across the bridge with Andy and like kind of messing with him about the heights? Like I'm going to push him over and seeing how angry he gets. Sorry, I think that would be a lot of fun. I probably won't be walking across the bridge. I will Uber across the bridge, but I won't walk across the bridge. But I will be excited to see what happens in this Belmont Stakes Challenge. One of the biggest contests of the year in the contest scene, the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, the NHC, and then the Belmont Stakes Challenge. $10,000 buy-in, $2,500 goes in the middle, $7,500 you bet with, and whoever's got the most money at the end can win a lot of different prizes. And really excited about that two-day contest. Also excited, speaking about 2 days, the two-day wagering menu. Really excited about that as well, especially the $2 two-day pick four. I love those higher minimums. I think it leaves some opportunities to really kind of get some big scores. I'm looking forward to that wager. Also looking forward to the sprint double using the True North and the Woody Stevens. Really excited about those two-day wagers. I love betting on big races, and sometimes they don't connect in multi-race sequences. I really appreciate these wagers that do connect those races, and I'm really looking forward to the 2 days next week for the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah, I think we all are. Jonathan, thank you. That's going to be a lot of fun. I love those two-day wagers and linking up these different stakes races that are in the same divisions. We are back at Belmont. 6th race, start of the late pick four. It's a 20 maiden claiming race. 1 turn mile coming up and a delicious betting board. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale for more.
That's right, Greg. And with 10 horses in here, we'll take a look at the 4 taking the bulk of the play and the 4 that, well, they feel as though they have the most upside, possibly. And we'll begin with number 3. That is Mo Heat, coming in off of a layoff as a new gelding. Now, he is by Outwork, out of the incredibly talented and wickedly quick Extra Heat, one of my favorite race mares of all time. But let's face it, she's getting up there. So a lot of times dams, their production will tail off a bit as they get older. She's actually 23 as of this year, so she was 20 when she had Mo Heat. So, okay, so that's why we see him here for this maiden 20 coming back off the bench. And he debuted in a turf race, which he's not a turf horse. I mean, we've seen Outworks be okay on the turf, but that bottom side of the pedigree says no, and physically he says no. I actually think he might like the wet going here. He comes back fit, he's well defined, he has everything that you want with a horse coming back from that particular type of layoff. So for me, he does make a lot of sense, and as Greg pointed out, he's a juicy 5-1 right now. As number 4, Futuro, kind of has the same type of look, but not the layoff to contend with. The son of Honor Code, they're going back a generation. The second dam, she won on both surfaces, and that makes this horse's dam a half-to On Fire Baby, who is a multiple Grade 1 winner, including the Apple Blossom and La Troyenne. So looking at him, I think he should be A-okay with the surface change today, and he's very fit. He's very well composed here in the paddock. He paints a nice picture, and I don't think he'll have a problem with the distance either with that type of pedigree getting to the main track. On the outside, number 10, Core Curriculum, for Todd Pletcher, another one as a new gelding. In his dirt debut, he was hustled to the lead from the inside, and watching the way he moves, he kind of does move more like a turf horse, but that experiment didn't really turn out that well either as a beaten favorite over at Gulfstream back in March. But the way he moved too suggested, I thought that he might like the going here. This sloppy sealed racetrack kind of had that extra bounce to his stride. He's incredibly fit. He's a very tall, lanky, lighter frame type of animal. So I think this spot makes sense for him. The one that I don't think it makes sense with is number 11, Tremendous. Yes, he debuted, I should say, over a sloppy sealed track. He gets that here once again. I don't get the stretch out with this horse. He is built like a sprinter. He has that massive hind end to him. He's built downhill. He's incredibly sharp here. He has speed, but it's not like that's potentially, the only way to win today. It definitely isn't. I just don't get this stretch out in distance with him, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. It's a tough race to try and wrap your finger around as they're coming through the tunnel in a moment here. Our post parade coming up, approaching the 3-minute mark to post. 7-2, Core Curriculum. It was a straight maiden race at Tampa, going a mile and 40. New gelding and speed, and completely backed up in that race.
Yeah,
but it's Pletcher, as you mentioned to me, Irad Ortiz Jr.
And here's, stats aren't bad for Todd Pletcher. Looking at like turf to dirt with maidens, he's okay. In routes, he's okay. Nothing. Maiden claiming turf to dirt with routes in maiden claiming races. Todd Pletcher's 13 for 35, 37% with a 212 ROI. And at Naira, he's 5 for 11, 45% with a 336 ROI. So he wins with these kind, and he wins particularly with them here. It's not that there's anything on paper to particularly like him. These horses just seem to win for Todd.
There he is. Once the gate opens, is the Triple Crown nominated aspect going to help him at all? I don't think so.
I don't think he's going to be thinking as he goes around the turn, they thought so much of me, they nominated the Triple Crown. I'm better than these guys. He's just going to run off. I don't think it works that way, okay. Greg. I've never introduced that to my handicapping, but I'm now going to have to consider it.
There's just a lot of other runners in here. We just don't know. And he's not going to be on the lead. I would not think anywhere.
He's not slow. I mean, I think the 8 Sinishak's going to go, but I expect Irad to be forward with him.
Here's Tappett's flashback. He ran for 40 at 7/8 at Aqueduct. He ran a distant second.
Yeah. The truth is, he's not that far out of it on Figs.
I can see it.
He's 8-1.
I'm with Maggie, one of my all-time favorites. Extra Heat. Wow, was she a good sprinter. Here's Mo Heat, debuted on turf.
He's my top choice in here. George Weaver with good numbers, second-time starters, going maiden special weight to maiden claimers, turf to dirt. He's 4 for 8. And Extra Heat, even though she's gotten older, she has had some good foals recently.
Futuro debuted long at Belmont on the grass for Belmont. And here's Our Lucky Man, 11-1.
Yeah, the 4 is really more of a turf pedigree, but certainly not impossible. This one looks a little slow. The race 2 back in the slop. Yep. Good enough.
Ran second with a 60 buyer. Here's the 6 Epona Rising Mark Hennig.
I don't like this horse at all. My friend Mike Beer at DRF, he's his best bet, so I had to throw him in the exacta. I know. New gelding.
I thought 11-1 was incredibly generous. I don't see it. 25-1, Tis Envy, Gary Richards.
He would be an upset.
Look at the race in the slop 3 back.
That's a dubious fig that's never been repeated, and the low percentage rider.
New gelding as well. Sinishak, speed here.
Has to get the mile, though. That's a concern, but I agree. The speed. This trainer is 5 for 10 off the claim with maidens on the dirt. at Parks, but still.
16 tons, Jose Ortiz, Linda Rice.
16 tons, and what do you get, Greg? A horse stretching out that probably doesn't want to go long.
Horse who did run good in the mud, but that was before it went to the bench. Here's the still modest favorite, actually 4-1 on core curriculum.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through this horse. I don't disagree with Greg. He's not that appealing at a shortest price, but Todd Pletcher wins these horses. He's the one to beat.
And at least there's upside because it's just the second start for Tremendous, who debuted in the slop, now gets Lasix for Jimmy Jerkins.
I agree, and he met a very tough field first time out. He's not impossible here. He's one that I used. We'll see if he gets the mile. Maggie has the concerns, and it's legitimate, you know, what Maggie said. The mile could be an issue.
Late pick 4, it begins here. You can play it in all the action with Naira Bets. Get signed up, started, go to nairabets.com. You can download the app. $25 free bet in the Belmont when you use Belmont 25 at sign up, plus a 100% deposit match of up to $200. There it is again, Belmont 25, code to use for new members once you get signed up, started, and play along with Naira Bets. Of course, with the Belmont Stakes coming up on Saturday, it is going to be a fun week of action to play as we take a look at Mo Heat out of that super sprinter extra heat. George Weaver outwork 3-year-old gelding who debuted going long in the grass at Saratoga back as a 2-year-old. And here's George Weaver's numbers.
It's a funny stat.
Move.
It's a random stat. It's a small number. 6 of them hit the board. And the thing that concerns me, and I bet this horse, I don't mind taking a bit of a price. I'm hoping Eric Cancel's aggressive, gets him there. Why would you debut a son of extra heat going long on the turf? So that is a bit of a concern. Now, maybe he felt he needed a race, but you see extra heat and you think a dirt sprinter. I know Outworks horse that wanted to go longer. That is a weird thing, but the horse is a good enough price. So I bet the 3 Mo Heat to win, and I boxed from the exacta with the 6 Opponent Rising, the 10, and the 11.
Let's check in with Jonathan and his wagering strategy here for the 6th.
Yeah, my thoughts are pretty simple here. The 2 Tappett's Flashback does not like to get out of the gate. 3 races in a row, does not break well. Has some time off, gets Luis Saez. If Tappett's Flashback breaks with the group, I think can be extremely tough in here. But if he does the same old thing, popping away from there slow, he's going to be up against it, especially on this racetrack. The 8 Sinishak. This horse has always taken money, and I'm curious if he has the looks of a horse that always takes a lot of money. Maggie?
Well, he did once upon a time, JK. But I've always thought that longer was ultimately going to prove best for number 8, Sinishak here. I know that isn't quite how it worked out when he tried it back on January 28th, but we'll see what he does here. And I think those stats that Andy brought up in regards to Juan Vasquez, his new trainer off the claim with the maidens, a pretty potent stat. And I just thought this was the right spot, right distance, and we'll see how he negotiates the sloppy track. If you remember his sire Shackelford, he absolutely despised a track with moisture in it. Let me tell you, there's a lot of moisture on this racetrack, Greg. I'm starting to see those sheets of rain go by me here as they're loading in the gate.
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good, so we'll see who takes to this. Probably, it's never fun, I think, for probably some horses like it, some don't. Some can handle getting that slop kick back in your face and the rain in your face as well. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's unusual. I think when you get a situation like I've had yesterday and today, especially today too, where it's raining throughout the day, speed's often good. Maybe horses have trouble sort of running through it. But we've been here and seen plenty of days when it was lousy conditions and horses are coming from the clouds. So it's kind of random. Yeah, and listen, I think some horses run well in it.
And by the way, down to 5-2 now on core curriculum. That money has come in on the Todd Pletcher dropper. Getting back under. There's the 10 moving in. Irad Ortiz Jr. looking for number 3. Meanwhile, there is Epona Rising.
Mike Beer's best bet of the day.
Wow, that is 17-1 now.
Well,
we're set. Pick 4, Tom. Let's head upstairs. Here's John Imbrial.
They're in the gate. And they're off. And very awkward beginning for number 7, Tiz Envy, who was at the back of the pack. It was also a slow start for number 1, Tappett's Flashback. Up front, it is Futuro and Mo Heat on the inside. Then Sinishak is next in 3rd, followed by Epona Rising, who is in 4th. Followed by 16 tons as the field goes up the backstretch. So it's Mohit and Futuro. Sinishak is on the outside with Tremendous. Then comes Epona Rising in 5th, followed by 16 tons in 6th. Our Lucky Man is next in 7th. Core Curriculum is in 8th. Tappett's Flashback is in 9th. And Tis Envy is the trailer in 10th. Half mile 1 in 46 and 1. Mohit challenged here on the outside by Tremendous. As Sinishak drops back along with Futuro. They're about to be passed on the inside by Our Lucky Man. On the outside, Tappett's Flashback is now coming on. The field is at the top of the stretch. It's Mohit and Tremendous. And they are heads apart for the lead. 3/4 in the slop in 1:11 and 4. They pass the 3/16 pole. It is Tremendous. Mohit down at the rail. Tappett's Flashback is in 3rd. And Our Lucky Man in 4th. Now is 16th out. Tappett's Flashback trying to lug in there, but Tappett's Flashback has the lead here in deep stretch. And it will be Tappett's Flashback to win it. Close for second, Mohit or Tremendous, and Our Lucky Man was 4th.
Tappett's Flashback. Luis Saez, Oscar Barrera goes off at 7:01. Had 3 seconds in 4 prior starts before today.
Well, we should show the start of the race again because this horse stuck in extremely badly at the start. Now, I made a big bet on the 3 and had a 3:11 box. Feels like it's a tough beat, but it's not because the winner of the race spotted the field a pole.
Keep your eyes on the 2, inside post.
I mean,
wow.
Broke a good length or 2 behind and then dropped another 5 or 6 behind.
Not far off from, honestly, being declared a non-starter.
Well, no.
I mean, another second or 2.
Well, I mean, just he broke inside, as Richie says, the horses breaking empty spaces. I'm absolutely stunned, that this horse just beat me. Wow.
7-1 on Tappett's Flashback. Meanwhile, Mohit running a very big one, along with Tremendous, the second-time starter. But here comes the 2 rolling, widest of all, under Luis Saez, and gets the money. Maggie at 7-1.
And well done, JK, for calling this horse out. Not fulfilling the way he thought, though, because he thought he'd break sharper, and boy, he didn't, as you guys highlighted. Plus, he wanted to lug in so badly as well. So I think a lot of credit goes to Luis Saez for working out a trip with this horse and proving that he was not easy to handle, as Mohit was able to hold on for second over Tremendous here. But as Andy said, this horse and the ride, much the best today.
2, 3, 11, 5. Awful beginning, but again, conditions like this, sometimes some horses just relish it.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I don't know where this effort came from this horse. I mean, honestly, as we said in the post parade, it's not like the horse was that far out of being contentious. I don't think it's a shock that he won, but it's a shock the way he won. It's a little strange, to be honest.
Well, you got a price here. They kick off the late pick 4, and then your pick 6 and pick 5. We'll have the prices when we come back. Todd Pletcher, he's going to have 3 shots at another Belmont Stakes. Overtook, Known Agenda, and Bourbonic. We'll preview his chances coming up when we return.
Come and get Army Mule, who's pulling away by 5 and finishing fast. Army Mule, ultra impressive in the Cartery, flew home, won it by 6.
A 10 now 20 here. We can hold on the 221, 210,000.
Monmouth Park's 50-cent Win Early Pick 5 is the best way to get your wagering day started. With a 12:15 post every Saturday and Sunday, the Win Early Pick 5 is home to 6-figure pools and a low 15% takeout. Start your day winning early. Play Monmouth Park's Win Early Pick 5. Win early, win often.
Back on America's Day of the Races. Program is brought to you in part by Hill and Dale at Alapa. We have live coverage from Belmont Park and from Churchill Downs on this Sunday afternoon. We'll be with you all Memorial Day as well. We got a long one tomorrow. We hope you join us. Back in the 6th at Belmont, it was a Tappett's flashback. Awful break, and you figure this race is over for this horse today. Well, keeps on rolling down the stretch under Luis Saez and gets the win here at 7-1.
I mean, this is outright incredible. I mean, you know, as you and I were talking about it, the horse wasn't illogical on paper. The horse, you know, we said it in the post parade that this horse had races that gave him a chance,
with a
and it was
start like
wide
that.
race. But when you get a start like that, and absolutely the pace was very fast for these horses, okay? The 3 and 11 ran very well when you consider the pace for this quality horse. Having said that, nobody else closed. So, I mean, if the race completely incinerated, right, and the 3 and 11 finished 6th and 7th, and horses were coming from nowhere, I'd say, well, you know, maybe getting left and oddly was a bit of a blessing. But which other horse in this race made a scintilla of a run in here?
Yeah.
Nobody ran a step.
Nobody.
I mean,
first 3 legs of the pick 6, this 2-day carryover, that pick 3, $170 to this point so far. It's Tappett's flashback, Luis Saez, Oscar Barrera, Gagliano Stables, and a son of flashback with the win in the 6th to start off the late pick 4. Here's the follow along in the pick 6. A couple of double-digit numbers so far.
Yeah, not an easy sequence to get through. And I mean, I don't think that, and I think you'll agree, Greg, first line doesn't have the look of an even money shot in the pick 6.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's probably, horses probably 2-1 to 5-2, especially with people that are alive, right? People that are alive had to use a few to sort of get there. So if you're alive, we wish you the best of luck because the payoffs are looking pretty good. And I suppose if some insanity happens, could we have?
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I had a triple carryover once.
We'll need some things to happen.
No. We're not even close to it now. But
153rd running of the Belmont Stakes. It is coming up on Saturday. This is a group that is going to line up. Todd Pletcher has 3 in the race. His Wood winner, his Florida Derby winner, and overtook as well, who was 3rd in the Peter Pan. Let's take a look at Known Agenda. Wound up 9th in the Kentucky Derby, coming in off that Florida Derby victory.
Yeah, honestly, if this horse weren't trained by Todd Pletcher, I'd consider him a complete toss. But given how well Todd Pletcher has done with the Belmont Stakes, and in general done as a trainer, but also particularly in the Belmont Stakes, I think it's a mistake to dismiss them. I just wonder if the Florida horses weren't that strong this winter, and one of the reasons they weren't that strong was that Todd Pletcher's 3-year-olds weren't that good this year. And so maybe the Florida Derby wasn't that good a race, and he was awful in the Derby. But he could run better in here. Still, I always prefer horses to Belmont that have more speed.
Look, you say he was awful in the Derby. He had to deal with the inside post. That's no favor to him.
It didn't hurt him, though, if you watch the race. It didn't hurt him at all. He broke really well. Irad got him in position. He just couldn't keep up.
Here's what Pletcher has done in the Derby. Tappert, Palace Malice, the filly, Rags to Riches. And again, Known Agenda, Bourbonic, who's going to again be coming from the clouds. And he'll have overtook that $1.1 million son of Curlin, who was 3rd in the Peter Pan.
He may overtake somebody if the field is stretching out. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, we'll see. And it's not just the wins that Todd has had. It's Commissioner running 2nd at 30-1 behind Tonalist. I mean, he's had horses that have repeatedly sort of overperformed in the Belmont. It's a race that he really seems to get right, among others. Many races he's got right in his career.
I want you, Andy, as we look at the odds for this episode of Churchill, to pace yourself. Did you see that schedule? We have a busy week ahead.
Pace myself. Good luck. Pace myself, yes. Working every day.
7th at
It's all
Churchill.
good. I got the greatest job in the world, Greg, and I'm with you.
Thank you. I feel the same way. Mana 16th on the turf. Coming up, here's the 1 who's at 8-5, Al Nassim. Shamardal, 5-year-old mare.
This horse actually could be forwardly placed because there's just no speed whatsoever in here, and I think that would help her chances. She's a contender, major contender.
Curly Ruth, Eddie Keneally takes over the training duties.
Yeah, we'll see. Eddie Keneally doesn't have terrible numbers off trainer switch, mostly because he had one big priced winner.
Claude Brownfield sends out the 6-year-old mare by Bodemeister, 11-time winner.
Looks a little up against it here. I thought on turf, better on synth maybe.
Brassy for Owen Hardy. Jimmy Graham.
I thought was in a tough spot coming in from Tampa.
Teenage Kicks will put blinkers on for Bernie Flint.
Yeah, I had this horse okay. If you could, the race 2 back maybe gave a chance. Last time was obviously a disaster.
Gambling Train, 13-1. 2-time winner on the grass, Joe Talamo.
I agree. Does the cutback in distance help with this horse? Maybe, maybe not. Horse has been a big price in races.
Heaven Escape going to stretch back out.
Maybe that'll help show a little speed in a race that doesn't have any.
Mike Maker trains this one with Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard.
I prefer this one to the one. Gutty going on the Mike Maker switch. Those trainer switch numbers aren't spectacular.
And Tizara for Ian Wilkes. Julian Leperoux aboard, 11-1 on the outside.
I'd like to see Julian be aggressive with this horse. Would help him if he gets in the game, I think.
Crowd taking in some sun under the Twin Spires.
I hate them. Okay, we don't show those pictures anymore, guys. I'm a little bitter looking at that.
Okay to
Greg.
be jealous.
I'm more than jealous.
They're
I'm angry.
missing out. Nothing like a little rain.
Yeah, can't wait to wait for the bus on Hempstead Turnpike in the rain.
You can play this 7th at Churchill and all the races we're bringing you with Twin Spires. Go to twinspires.com. You can download the app as well. Get 200, that code to use at sign-up. Jonathan, what do you think here, the 7th at Churchill coming up?
Yeah, I really like the one Al Nassim. This is a horse that was extremely wide last time on Oaks Day. It was wide all the way around there. Now gets an inside trip. Should be able to save ground. Adam Beschizza does a good job of staying inside, saving that ground, and which is so important in these turf races. The other thing I like about the one is I watched the head-on in that last race. In about the half-mile pole, which is when you're going into the last turn, there was like a white paper sack or bag on the ground, and this horse jumped over it. Now, look, did the horse lose because he jumped over the bag? No. But losing that momentum, losing all that ground, that's just not considered a good trip. And so I like betting horses off of bad trips, especially when they project to get a better one today. I like this horse a lot. I'm actually betting this horse to win, and I don't do that very often. I'm more of a multi-race player, but I do like the one in here.
So 8-5, States start number 2.
I guess she's the horse to beat. I'm not in the same place as Jonathan with this horse's trip last time. She was wide in the second turn. I don't disagree with that, but she's obviously one of the ones to beat. She's supposed to also be forward here, which will really help her chances.
Travis Stone with a call here, 7th from Churchill Downs on the home of racing from Churchill on Fox Sports.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Geedy squeezed back just a bit coming out of the starting gate. Teenage Kicks from mid-pack bounces out near the top. Al Nassim is there. And Heaven Escape joins them from the outside. Bias for the first time. Al Nassim secures the top spot. A little bit keyed up while doing so. Here comes Heaven Escape up to put some pressure on from second. Teenage Kicks backs off, settles in toward the rail, racing in third. Curly Ruth is fourth. Tizara racing in fifth. Geedy comes away sixth. Gambling Train is seventh. Brassy is eighth. And Color Me Pretty settles in at the back in ninth. They move for the backstretch run. Al Nassim is back on top on a clear-cut lead, leads by 2. Heaven Escape backed off around the opening turn from second. A break or 2 back to Teenage Kicks, who settles in toward the rail. Third, Tizara moving up from fourth. The opening quarter goes in 24 and 2/5 seconds. It's Al Nassim, the leader, with 4 furlongs to go. Unopposed so far. Heaven Escape has been tracking throughout and is still second. Teenage Kicks toward the inside, not far behind in third. Tizara within striking range from fourth. Curly Ruth is fifth and only 4 lengths off the lead. Geedy starting to wind up from the back of the pack, 6 with 5 lengths to find, followed by Brassy and Gambling Train. Color Me Pretty is the trailer. Racing for the top of the stretch. Al Nassim still there by half a length. Heaven Escape cranks up the pressure now. Teenage Kicks is right in behind. Tizara is there. Geedy swings wide for the stretch drive. Curly Ruth is boxed up in behind horses. Racing for the mid-stretch marker. Al Nassim roused to a 2-length lead. Al Nassim opens up. Color Me Pretty is flying down the crown of the course, passing horses quickly. Al Nassim still clear by 2. Color Me Pretty runs up into second, but Al Nassim is gone. Al Nassim wire to wire by 4. Looks like Curly Ruth might have grabbed second from Color Me Pretty. Tizara was fourth.
Bet down to 6-5 at the end. Al Nassim pretty strong in the stretch here.
I tell you what, nobody gets 6-5 home like our man Jonathan Kinchin. He was a little upset the rider was sort of fighting the horse early. I was a little upset that Jonathan was giving out 6-5 shots in the show, but she won like a 6-5 shot should. So I'll give him some credit. I wanted it to get a little close. I kind of wanted Jonathan to suffer with it.
Of course
I was
you
hoping
did.
that 3 would come out of the clouds and just get beat like a half a head, so Jonathan would have to suffer a little at the end, but it wasn't.
That was pretty impressive.
She was much
with Al Nassim. JK, well done at 6-5.
I think that we could make a website, and Andy and I could sell the screenshots of the texts we have between each other during these shows, mad at the rides we're getting. I was like, I wish he would have just let her go. What's he fighting her for? And then she opens up and wins by 4. That's why he rides horses, and I sit here and talk about him.
He got that a little wrong. That's why he rides 6-5 shots, and you just bet him. I think that's the way you should have put it, don't you? JK. Jonathan's always trying to monetize me, by the way. Jonathan's got a million plans to monetize me. I need to hire him as my agent.
You guys need betting agents. Are there such things? Adam Biskitza on board. Al Nassim
was doing fine until yesterday.
Gets the win as the 6-5 favorite. Well, the prices from this one when we return. The 7th is up next. This race originally scheduled for 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf. It's now 1.25 miles on this sloppy sealed main track. That is Dyna Drive. The 9-5 current favorite, Irad Ortiz Jr. Wow, looking for number 3.
I want to book that one, Greg.
We'll have more on this race when we come back.
Now 500,000. Well done.
Audible let loose on the outside to take the lead. Audible by 3. Hofberg can't get him. Audible, no doubt about it. Audible on the inside turns away the challenge of Free Drop Billy. No confrontation at all. It's Audible to win the Holy Bull with style.
Audible on the outside races to the lead. Audible wins by 2.5.
Be a part of the Racing Action Saturdays at Belmont Park with live money contests available online through Naira Bets. A $300 buy-in adds $200 to your contest account, while the other $100 funds the cash prize pool paid through 10th place. Follow along with the races on America's Day at the races while keeping track of your leaderboard standings on Naira Bets. After the contest, your bankroll and prize winnings are shifted back into your Naira Bets account to start betting or withdraw. Register to play today at nairabets.com/contests.
Reach the starting gate. It's post time. Home front, the favorite comes forward. And they're into the stretch. Cold front put to the test. Old Cash on the outside trying to go with it, but Cold front kicks away. Cold front 2.5. Cold front does it again. Wiring the field in the Amsterdam.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon. Our program is brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. We have an intriguing 7th race here coming up. It's 1.25 miles ahead on this sloppy sealed racetrack. And Dyna Drive, the current 8-5 favorite in here. You have Burning Bright, who's going to be fourthly placed, taking the blinkers off for Jonathan Thomas. Main track only entrant, Dark Storm. Sit down. Oh,
I like Mallet thought a little bit.
Okay.
Here. See if Maggie has a thought in her husband's
Yeah, let's
horse.
go to Maggie real quick downstairs.
Malathiel.
Not happening. Not talking about Malthael. We'll check in with your current favorite. That is the 1A Dyna Drive. And I always am reminded of the saying that the coach, Dwayne Lucas, gave when somebody asked about a horse of his getting the distance. And he said, well, they can all get the distance. It's just how fast they can do it. So that leads me into talking about the 1A Dyna Drive here. And Yes, I think he absolutely could be competitive going a mile and 3/8 on the turf, but a mile and a quarter on the dirt might be pushing it with him. I don't think he's completely without talent on the dirt, and he looks a lot better than what I had last seen from him, which was last fall in October, prior to the reclaim by Mike Maker. The weight's back on, the coat's where it should be. I did not see him in his last Belmont performance here on April 29th, but I have some doubts about a mile and a quarter on the main track with him, but otherwise he looks fantastic, like the good Dyna driver that I've seen in the past. Moving on to number 9, Burning Bright comes in from out of town and has progressively gotten faster, especially in the beginning of this year now as a 4-year-old, and by the champion turf mare and Forever Together, campaigned by George Strawbridge of Augustin Stable and Jonathan Shepard. And this horse, I thought, was intriguing getting back to the turf, but he's obviously proven that he has some talent on the main track, and he just reminds me of a big galloping type. Just wants to run forever. So I think that this is the right kind of condition for him. I don't think he'll struggle too much with the wet track that he's going to experience for the first time. He's a horse that carries his weight and conditioning particularly well. It's Jonathan Thomas. His horses do tend to look good every single time they're led over here, but I think he's very dangerous, and Greg, the board would suggest that as well, as he's your current second choice.
3-1. He does look like an imposing physical figure in this spot and should be forwardly placed. Can he handle the off-going? We'll find out. He's 3-1 right now with Manny Franco. Meanwhile, the 3, Limonite, Amira Shishakli trains this horse now, who has some races on off tracks that tower over this field.
Yeah, I need to look at the doubles, because it's hard to imagine that the 1A is favored in doubles. And Limonite's a slight favorite in doubles, as he's supposed to be with the 1 and the 9 second and third choices. He has. And listen, the good Limonite is going to win this race, and I don't think you'll argue that. My concern with him, and I picked him second, I think he's absolutely the horse to beat. I think the 1A is a bad bet at a short price, and I much for Limonite certain similar prices. I worry when I see him. Okay, he ran third in that mile and 8th race against Modernist, but his buyer figure dropped precipitously, right? And then he comes back, and all right, he was never winning the Westchester, but geez, Greg, he didn't run a step that day and ran a 66 buyer, and he's just starting to look like a horse that
eased and walked off. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying he's starting to look like a horse that his form is declining badly. I'm not, since he's going to be the favorite, I want to pick him. Honestly, I didn't really even consider the 1 as particularly a horse that 1A Dyna Drive that interests me. For me, that horse, if that horse wins, I lose. So where else do you go? Well, I have trouble making Dark Storm get a mile and a quarter. I guess Burning Bright has speed and maybe could win.
You wanted to talk about this one.
I did.
Here's Malthael. What do you think at 6-1?
Maggie just flicked me off like a gnat.
She wanted no part of it.
She wanted no part of that. She's probably right. I thought it was Malathon actually running in here. That was my mistake, and I was going to claim her for $80,000, Greg. I could have put that cash together. I know this horse's last race in the dirt at Laurel is awful. There is no doubt about it. The race before it, though, the horse's a viable excuse, was 4 wide against a cold rail and a race that was wired against better horses, so I can dismiss it. This horse can be forwardly placed, and in his day has run well on sloppy tracks, and he's I think he's a better dirt horse, especially on the sloppy races, than he is a turf horse. And I don't think his last races are that bad, so maybe something happened at Laurel. He was out for 3.5 months or 2.5 months after that race, and he's got a race. And Greg, I was just searching for somebody in here, honestly. I don't see the 10 getting the distance and didn't like his last race. I'm not a big fan of the 9. I suppose he could win, but where are his particularly good races? And his dirt races are not as good as the 8s, and I'm going to be a better price. And I don't trust Limonite. So it's only a 5-horse field at this point, right? Where else am I supposed to go?
5 minutes to post coming up in this mile and a quarter, 7th from Belmont. Meanwhile, back at Churchill, Al Nassim. How much play money did JK get here?
I don't know. Is it Monopoly or Life? What color was the cash? She not only was she possibly the best horse in the race, but drawing inside in an absolutely paceless race when, even though on paper you look at it and think, how could she be the speed? Believe it or not, looking at the time form pace projector, she projected to be one of the 2 horses in front. So with the inside draw And even under restraint, she was able to be in front.
That might not even be the way she wants to run, preferably. I'm looking forward to seeing her next time out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to betting against her next time, but that's just a difference of opinion. This was
Well, you bet against her today, too.
No, I didn't bet.
Well, you would have.
Well, I wasn't going to bet on her.
Right. So you would have bet against her.
I could have bet against her if I wanted to, Greg. I could have done it. You
Back
know
in
to see
Belmont.
me get that phone and do a little wagering at times.
8-5, it remains. Dynadrive, who, for what it's worth, last time on dirt, it was a race taken off the turf. Good track, Gulfstream was a winner for 40 claiming. That was at a mile. Getting a shoe repair right now. And that's the reason for a slight holdup here.
I guess. And other race was an off-the-turf race. It got a 61. The problem with the 1A is that, yes, it's an off-the-turf race, but the 3 Limonite is a legitimate dirt horse, and the 10 Dark Storm are legitimate dirt horses. And I guess what Limonite has going for him is he might want the distance. But I'm going to tell you something about about Dynadrive, excuse me. I'm not convinced he wants the distance because he finished 4th at a mile and a quarter. He also finished 12th, going a mile and 5/16 at Kentucky Downs. And if you look at his last race and just look at his running line, it actually looks like he ran pretty well. He didn't. He had a good trip. He saved ground the first turn. Kendrick was too wide, angled out late in the second turn. The race was falling apart at the end, and he was like a group of 3 or 4 of them that were just sort of clunking up at the end, picking up pieces. So I don't think his race last time is even as good as it looks on paper. I'm not convinced he wants this distance. Honestly, I'd like to do 2 things in here. One of them I did. I bet the 8 to win. If the one were 8-5, I like to book some money on him as well. I don't like this horse at all. He's a dunce cap horse for me at 8-5.
All right, so
7 to 2 he's not.
You
but
don't
8-5
only
he is.
need to play through Naira Bets. You could book with Andy as
Yeah.
well if you like
Andy
the 1A.
Betts. Andy Betts.
Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, we do see that shoe repair on Dynadrive to the left front. We see our Paddock blacksmith, Joe Campbell, trying to get it on him. He was not having it for a moment, but we do see our outrider here, Ivan San Juan, helping and assisting too. But I do think it's worth noting that he was reacting fairly negatively to it at first. It looks as though Joe is tacking the shoe on at the moment. So a little bit of a delay down here, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Yeah, this is causing a minor delay here. By the way, Jonathan wants to book a little bit with you, with Andy Betts.
He wants to bet? Money?
Well, we have him here. How much do you want in, JK, with Andy Betts?
I don't want the color. I want the green money, not the Monopoly money.
No, Andy Betts is not legal. I'm not participating in illegal activity.
No, you wouldn't want to do that.
I did want to talk a little bit about the 1A that Andy mentioned, Dynadrive. I was this morning. I actually talked to. I do this often. Trainers, don't give me your number. I'll bother you. I was talking to Jonathan Thomas, and I'm just curious about taking the blinkers off his horse. And I asked him about the 1A Dynadrive because he once had the horse. And I said, "Do you think this horse will run on the dirt?" And his answer was at least basically informative, is he didn't see him having enough speed to kind of get involved. He hadn't shown that when he was with Jonathan Thomas, but also he did mention that for a Temple City, he's the most dirt-looking Temple City that he had ever seen. So I felt like Dynadrive had a little bit of a class edge in here. And I don't want to bet this horse as if the race is being run on the turf, but I do think that he's interesting going the distance, being trained by Mike Maker, and the fact that if he is put into the race a little bit, or if someone doesn't take advantage of the paceless race, IRAD could be right there, and sometimes class can prevail. But ultimately, I'm going to end up leaning on the 9, Burning Bright. I feel like this horse will handle the distance. Mama Forever Together, she could run at a very high level at long distances. She won at 10 furlongs in a grade 1. She won the Diana. It was on the turf, but still, she'll run all day, and it feels like Burning Bright could take advantage of this paceless race if ridden aggressively. And before we hung up, I told Jonathan to send the horse to the front. I don't know if he's going to listen to me, but I tried my hardest.
We'll see. Yeah, Manny Franco, 3-1 right now on Burning Bright, who I like as well. If this horse can get to the front.
How would he not be in front? I mean, assuming he breaks in the gate, he's obviously going to be in front. I'm going to disagree with Jonathan about that class edge with Dynadrive. I know he ran a couple stakes recently. He's a 50 claimer and a 40 claimer just like the rest of them. I don't agree with that assessment. I'm not saying he can't win, but a lot of these horses have been. I mean, Limonite is the one who's probably running stake races, Class Edge too. He's another horse who's running 50 claimers, so 40 claimers. Are they all sort of similar?
Well, if you're looking at the just straight class of the group on this surface, it's Limonite.
It's Limonite. It's not even close.
At 2-1, Eric Cancel, Mira Shishakli. And again, this horse has had some really big efforts. That stymie race, 3 starts back.
He'll massacre this field if he runs that race.
But you brought up a good point. Just how do you trust this horse off that last start?
Yeah, I mean, that's my concern. You know, it's a little bit, and it's also because it was preceded by another race that was a step in the wrong direction, right? If that last start was totally in isolation, I might assume that something sort of went wrong last time and the horse is back in the right spot. It's not in for a tag. So, but the sort of step backwards, and maybe this horse just got sort of good over the winter that's now taking a step back at a short price. And it's why I didn't mind taking a shot at Mount. Listen, I bet a horse that probably is the favorite to be last. But I think there's enough to like about Malathiel that he's a little bit more likely to win than his odds suggest.
Here he is, coming through the tunnel.
And I want him to win, and I want Maggie to have to talk to Tom after the race if he wins. Maggie.
Do you want to talk about Malathiel before the race? We'll see if she gets to talk about him after coming up.
You got it.
Again, you go back to those races on off tracks at Monmouth and at Aqueduct, back-to-back wins, forwardly placed on the front end. The problem, though, if he's going to do that today, he's going to try and outquick the 9.
But he gets a second to him, and I don't see any evidence that Burning Bright is much racehorse. I mean, where is the evidence that Burning Bright's better than Malathiel? And he's 3-1, and Malathiel's 10-1.
No, he's lightly raced. Last time he was on Dirty 1.
I mean, still with a monstrous 74 buyer at 3-5 at Tampa.
Here's Dyna Drive. He will break from post 2. Irad Ortiz Jr. looking for number 3.
Crack out the dunce caps in my office, actually. If this horse wins, I guess he's got a race to win. I think he's way over.
Limonite now has become the favorite. He'll have the rail.
If he runs his race, he's going to win. I don't trust him, but he's the horse to beat.
Here's Malthael, Tom Morley, Junior Alvarado.
I'm hoping he's forwardly placed, and I'm hoping he gets back to some of his better races, which give him a chance here, and he's got some stamina.
Burning Bright, Jonathan Thomas, son of Empire Maker. Blinkers coming off.
He's the speed. If you want the speed, he's the right horse. I just don't know if he's good enough.
Here he is, Manny Franco on board. The last 2, they come on synthetic. A win in a second at Turfway Park.
Go ahead.
Our main track only on the outside. Jose Lizcano on Dark Storm at 5-1.
He's got good races, and he's got good races on the dirt. The problem is I don't know if he wants 1.25 miles, and his last race was very disappointing, albeit against a tougher field.
And he's got to win on an off track. Just in terms of straight value in the race, well, I get it's probably between the 8 and the 10, isn't it?
Yes, because I'm not going to take a stand against Burning Bright because he is the speed and he's a bit of an unknown in here. But what we know about him is he just isn't very good. So he'll win when my horse can't run anymore, possible. The 10 can't get the distance. Limonite's just falling apart. And the 1A is just the horse I think he is, which is not a dirt horse. He may win, but I'm not taking 3-1 to find that out.
I'm not sure why you say you don't think he's very good, Burning Bright. I mean, look, this horse is a 3-year-old in his second start on dirt, breaks his maiden at Tampa.
3-5.
And then he's off for a year.
74 buyer.
Or close to 9 months. Finnick the Fierce is a really good horse who he just ran second to on synthetic.
Isn't his pedigree coming from a dam who was a 2-time champion on the turf more suggestive to a synthetic than to running on the dirt?
He's already proven he can win on the dirt.
Slowly. He could win at 3-5 in the right spot.
But
we disagree.
Okay.
I don't think his dirt races are very good. I'm not saying he can't win. And you're right. He's a bit of an unknown. He could improve. And maybe you're right. Maybe he should have proven on the synthetic and he'll improve some more in the dirt. All of that is possible. But there's nothing about him that says he's much horse.
3-1 on him. We'll see what happens here, Manny Franco. You would think it's send here. The 8 moving in. Malthael. Favorite, though, at 3-2. It is Limonite, who does have the rail. Eric Cancel, Amira Shishakli. 1.25 miles here in this 7th. Let's go to John Imbrial.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Limonite and Malthael. And on the outside, Burning Bright now moves up. Malthael takes the lead. Burning Bright moves into second. And Limonite is now in third. Then it's a length and a half to Dyna Drive, who runs in fourth, and two more to Dark Storm, who trails the field in fifth as the field moves around the clubhouse turn and heads for the backstretch. Malthael in front here by a half length. Burning Bright is on the outside in second by 2.5. And then it is Limonite in third, followed by Dyna Drive and Dark Storm. First quarter was running 25-4, and they move up the sloppy Belmont backstretch. Malthael challenged now by Burning Bright. Burning Bright is right alongside of Malthael. The front two have 3 lengths on Limonite and Dyna Drive, and Dark Storm continues to trail. Half mile went in 50-4. Burning Bright goes on with it now, and Burning Bright has taken the lead from Malthael. 2.5 lengths to Limonite. Dyna Drive moving up some on the outside. Dark Storm is the trailer. The half went in 50-4. It is Burning Bright with the lead here as Dyna Drive drives up on the outside to take second. Malthael is now back running in third. 3/4 up in 1:15-2 over the sloppy going. It is Burning Bright. Dyna Drive in second. Malthael down at the rail. Dark Storm is now in fourth, and Limonite has dropped back to last. It is Burning Bright and Dyna Drive. They are 1-2 coming for the quarter pole. Burning Bright, Dyna Drive on the outside, then Malthael, Dark Storm, and Limonite. There's 3/16 to the finish. It is Burning Bright trying to hold off Dyna Drive with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. And Burning Bright has something left. Burning Bright has now opened up. Burning Bright in front by a half dozen lengths. And it will be Burning Bright victorious, going 1.25 miles in this off-the-turfer. Dyna Drive was second, then Dark Storm and Malthael.
Burning Bright. Actually, Malthael went to the front. Manny Franco set off, and then Manny said, I got to go here, took over. And wow, was he powerful in the stretch.
He was. I mean, I think a lot of things we talked about before the race all came into play, right? The 1A is not a dirt horse. I know he ran second, but he really didn't do much running. And I'm not knocking him. He ran very well, and he won quite easily in here. But Malthael's just not any horse anymore. He couldn't stay with him.
Malthael.
The 10 can't get the distance, and Limonite's finished. He was last. I mean, he couldn't keep up around the turn. So you had a horse that was kind of the race into good form, and against a lot of horses that were kind of going the wrong way or on the wrong surface or at the wrong distance. And he was the right one in that respect. And, you know, all those things sort of fell into place, and he proved much the best in here.
Maggie, it's Burning Bright, 3-1. Manny Franco, Jonathan Thomas.
Yeah, Greg, I mean, kind of as you said, all of these horses have run cheaper than this in the past. And he was the only one that hasn't. He had by far the most upside of any of these. And he proved it here where, you know, a lot of these horses probably could be running for 35, let's face it. So big performance by him. Jonathan Thomas, his horses come over here looking fantastic, and they are proving that they are best on the racetrack too at this Belmont meet, Greg.
Thank you, Maggie. 3-1 on Burning Bright. 9-1A, 10-8 here in the 7th. Burning Bright with a win. Jonathan Thomas, Augustin Stable, and Manny Franco. Loving the sloppy going all alone in the stretch. We'll be back with the feature next, the Paradise Greek. Stay tuned.
An undefeated graded stakes winner on the track, Algorithms, has sired over 70% winners from starters. His top runners include Pennsylvania Derby winner Math Wizard, graded stakes winner Recruiting Ready, juvenile stakes winner and multiple graded stakes placed South Bend, and these recent stakes winners and stakes performers.
To get there, but Kanani will win it.
Algorithms, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races program is brought to you by that fantastic champion sprinter Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting, did it all while racing medication free. Now stands at Claiborne Farm at a legendary stall. Number 1, the sun shining down on the fans under the Twin Spires. And a gorgeous Sunday afternoon in Louisville. We have the 8th coming up at Churchill. Here's a look at the current odds for this condition $40,000 claiming race, mile and a 16th. It's for 3-year-olds and up who have not won 3 or who are 3-year-olds. And here is the remaining half of the entry. The 1A, who's going to have the outside post.
Tom Amoss actually runs the one that on paper looked like the weaker half, but also not impossible in here.
Yeah, so this one coming off a win at Delta Downs. The rail to Motogali, Juan Cano.
Yeah, I'd like to see this horse get an aggressive ride here. It could be the main speed, but form has declined since being claimed from Chad Brown.
Mike Maker trains Alma Sharik, a Warfront 5-year-old.
Got engaged in a pace last time, fell apart on the dirt.
Eskin Ford, Gabriel Saez aboard for Michelle Lavelle.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this horse's last race was pretty good. I don't trust the Fig, though.
Something Natural, 10-1, Robertino Diodoro, coming out of a Group 3.
Coming off the races in the Manitoba Derby and the Canadian Derby, Greg.
Yeah, missed by a neck in that Canadian Derby.
I know, I made a big bet. I'm still bitter.
Decision Maker at 10-1.
We missed Spa City, the overwhelming favorite, who was way the horse to beat on the drop down. And Decision Maker looked a little bit over his head to me.
Yeah, faced some tough ones at Forcible. Blackberry Wine, talking about the 6, who is even money. Let's go to JK for our market mover. Jonathan.
Yeah, guys, the Twin Spires market mover is going to be the 6 Spa City, getting bet pretty heavily in the multi-race pools that are ending here, the double, the pick 3, also on the tote board in the win pool. This horse just has bigger, faster numbers than everyone else in here. It felt like this horse, the horse showed some talent. So sometimes when you see talent, you hold on maybe a little too long, especially for these bigger operations, hoping the light bulb comes on. The light bulb's not coming on. Now you drop the horse in for a tag. Just like the last race we watched at Belmont, class can sometimes prevail. If you want to bet this horse, the Twin Spires market mover, or any other horse, you can go to twinspires.com. If you're allergic to chalk, I'll end with this. The only one that I would look at betting is the 5 Something Natural.
All right, Something Natural, David Cohen, Diodoro, coming out of, again, that near miss in that Canadian Derby. But even money on the 6, Spa City, pretty logical here.
I want to go to one of those tracks up there. Is that Calgary? Is that at the do we know where that CTM? I'm not sure. Don't start with me. I don't know either. I know it's Assiniboia Downs where the Manitoba Derby is. Assiniboia?
Yes.
Thank you for that. CTM, Devin. Nobody. Yeah, I'm confused.
Just about loaded. 1A, last in line. We're set for the 8th. Here's Travis Stone.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Something Natural mid-pack bounces out on top. Motogali showing speed. Alma Shriek comes on through between them. Into the clubhouse turn they go. Motogali out to set the pace. Alma Shriek comes on to grab second. Something Natural 3 wide up into third. Eskinfort finds a cozy spot toward the rail. Racing in 4th. Spa City 2 lengths farther back while 5th. Bodymeister Wind in 6th. Decision Maker settles in at the back in 7th. 6 furlongs to go. Motogali shows the way to the backstretch run. Leads by just more than a length. Alma Shriek prompting the pace from second. Tracking that leader with 5 furlongs to go. Eskinfort is inside of Something Natural. They're together 3rd and 4th. That opening quarter mile was 23 and 4/5 seconds. Motogali and Adam Beschizza down the backstretch run. Holding on to the lead over Alma Shriek. Something Natural's in the clear while 3rd. Eskinfort given more rein toward the inside 4th. Spa City 5th, angling to the outside for the far turn run. 4 lengths to make up there. At the back, Decision Maker and Bodymeister Wind. Round the far turn, Motogali holding on to the lead so far. Alma Shriek has been second throughout. Something Natural comes on 3 wide. Eskinfort's asked to go now. Spa City circles up with a 4-5 wide bid. Decision Makers catching up to leaders 2. Top of the stretch for Motogali. Motogali clear by 2 to the 8th pole. Spa City coming with a rally up into second now. Decision Maker closing in. Alma Shriek toward the rail. Something Natural. Motogali still there. Motogali clear by 2. Spa City wanders to the outside trying to catch Motogali. Can't do it. Motogali wire to wire. Spa City second is tight for 3rd. Alma Shriek or Decision Maker.
Motagali, Juan Cano, Adam Beschizza, 2-6, and neither the 3 or 7 for third. It was close.
Well, had the inside position with speed. It's the first time this horse has been on a dry dirt track since back in November. And at the end of the day, while Spotswood finished second, did you ever really feel, Greg, like he was doing a lot of running? You know, he just never really seemed to get into it. I know he doesn't have the speed, but he could have maybe been a little, I mean, has the speed to be a little closer. He just, I don't think he had a real excuse. Motagali just fires.
Maybe the 7 for third decision maker. It's going to take a photo. But your winner goes off at 10-1 here in this 8th at Churchill.
I didn't have him.
A tough one to come up with. Down on the fence, saving ground. Adam Beschizza for Juan Cano, 2 dimes.
Two in a row for him.
Stables.
Beschizza, right? Didn't he win the last race as well?
He did. Feature. Next. Sorry, Paradise Creek. That was on Al Nassim. Paradise Creek, we got 4 who will line up. And right now, our current favorite, a horse who is at a little bit of second-itis on the grass, debuted on the main track, Fauci, when he was with Wesley Ward. He'll try it again today in the sloppy going at Belmont.
The Run Happies are running. The Run Happies are selling. The Run Happies are winning. Following C, romped by nearly 6 lengths, earning a 97 buyer. Happy Mac crushed the field by over 10 lengths. Mississippi by Run Happy won by 5.5 on the Kentucky Derby undercard. And Happy American by Run Happy stretched out to 1.25 miles in his victory at Churchill. At OBS, Run Happy Juvenile sold for nearly 50 times this year's stud fee. The chance of a lifetime at just $10,000. Book your mirror today to Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Monmouth Park's summer season continues with live action Friday to Sunday. Home to full competitive fields and big paydays, Monmouth Park has returned as a place to profit. Average win payout up 44% in 2020 versus 2019. Average favorite price up 26%. Races won at odds on down 22%. Looking to make money this summer? Bet Monmouth Park.
Spun to Run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run, new for 2021, standing at Gainesway.
Blood Horse Plus, available through bloodhorse.com, provides exclusive, timely, and unmatched content to subscribers, including Fox Sports, Blood Horse branded weekly programs, a detailed stakes winners section, behind-the-scenes videos from Blood Horse staff, on-demand access to deeper horse statistics, and a $5 monthly credit to equineline.com. Upgrade to Blood Horse Plus today.
Back on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us on this Sunday card in New York and at Churchill Downs. Program's brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can play all the action. Go to nairabets.com or download that Naira Bets app to get involved. Surface switch for our feature. It's the Paradise Creek, 7 furlongs coming up, $100,000 purse for 3-year-olds. And it's Fauci. Previously with Wesley Ward, now with Phil Antonacci, who's the current 6-5 favorite. With more in the field, let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, we'll check in with Fauci, Greg, as he comes back. The first time I'm seeing him now as a 3-year-old, and I saw him briefly in those two-year-old performances last year. He has grown up, and he has become more of that athletic type. So that's what you want to see. I like that. Still same disposition, fairly forward, kind of marching around the paddock with that big walk that he possesses. But in that debut, I had noted that despite the bottom side of the pedigree, he actually looked as though he should be able to handle the main track. So he gets back to it here once again on a sealed surface. He was second that day. I know he was the favorite, but as always, willing to forgive a horse in their first start on a different type of surface. I think he should handle it. I don't love him at 7-5. I think there's some far more interesting options in here, and we'll see where the odds end up at post time. That's what we have Andy Serling on the show for. But a horse that I just can't get over every single time I see him is number 5, 3-2 Zone. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous son of Street Sense, and it's hard to believe that he's only a 3-year-old. He's just massive, but kind of a gentle giant, if you will. He is fairly relaxed here. He was a little bit more on the muscle over at Aqueduct the last time I had seen him, but I like the 7 furlongs for him. I think it suits him well. We'll see how he negotiates the wet going. Like I said, he's massive, and sometimes those bigger, heavier horses, sometimes they don't get over it quite as well. But on the flip side of that, this track, it's been this slow, steady, soaking rain. So the track maintenance crew has been able to get a really firm seal on this track, so the horses are able to bounce over it a little bit. They're not sinking in and tiring from it. So I am optimistic with the chances here of 3-2 Zone. He certainly looks the part, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. 3-2 Zone, 7-2. Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard and cutting back. Has shown speed when sprinting. The question, the off track for him.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'd like to think in this situation that Eric Hansel has been really on top of it, being aggressive, that he's going to come out running in this race and try to get the lead. We'll see. I mean, Fauci also could have some speed. You know, he's been a little off the pace recently. But, you know, I like the horse that Maggie was talking about as well, 3-2 Zone. And I wouldn't be dismissive of this horse. This horse was over his head in the Pat Day Mile, trying to go a mile. His race 2 back was giant.
Oh, he's got a big shot in here.
Yeah,
surprised
absolutely.
to see 7-2. 9-5, meanwhile, on Barron, down on the inside. Well, 8-5 now.
He'll be around even money by post, according to doubles.
What do you? The biggest question for him, is it the 7/8?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't. I guess. I mean, he didn't. Obviously, he stumbled very badly at the start at the 7/8 race that he ran 2 back. So, you know, that's an easy throw out. Listen, he beat some okay horses in Candyman Rocket. Now, it should be noted in this race that the co-favorite, or maybe even the favorite, Candyman Rocket, threw his rider to start. So it kind of was a 2-horse affair after that. But he didn't have the best of starts, and Manny wheeled him out, and he was able to run down Candyman Rocket, who really seemed to have him beaten in that race. It was a nice effort. I like this horse. I think he's a very good horse. The problem that I have from a betting perspective is, I bet him last time. He was 3-1. Today's going to be even money. And I don't think that he's necessarily a heavy favorite to beat the 5-3-2 Zone. And Fauci's kind of an unknown, right? He ran well enough in that one dirt race.
In his debut, yeah.
Yeah, that he's not impossible. This 3-2 Zone, listen, I like Barron. I think he's a nice horse, and I do think he's a horse to be to pick him on top. But if he ends up even money and the 5-3-2 Zone ends up at 7-2, 3-1, I'm not sure 3-2 Zone is a better bet. Because what possible chance did he have in that Pat Day Mile last time out? Whereas he rode a gold rail to break his maiden 3 back. It was super 2 back. I mean, really ran well.
Jockeys coming out. Can we give a little love real quick, too, to who this race is named after? Paradise Creek won $3.4 million in his career for Belmont. 14-time winner, including the Arlington Million.
He's one of my favorite horses of all time. I loved him. He actually broke his maiden, Greg, late at the Belmont meeting in a 7-furlong, first time out in a 7-furlong 2-year-old race, winning by 11 lengths, which you don't see that often. And he, what some people remember, was second to the mighty Lure, when Lure put in that incredible performance, winning the Breeders' Cup Mile for the first time down at Gulfstream. They were both 3-year-olds. And he and Lure, and I think Star of Cozine was around. And there were so many good horses on the turf back then running. And Paradise Creek with Bill Mott was just, I mean, what a record he had. And he ran some remarkable races up to 1.25 miles. I believe he lost his last start in the Breeders' Cup turf, unless he ran overseas. Did he run overseas possibly after that?
Japan Cup.
Japan Cup, yeah. We ran 3rd or 4th that day.
Missed by a nose, ran 2nd.
There you go.
Yeah.
He was a super horse for Bill Mott, and at a time when he was running against some bears.
Paradise Creek, our feature, is coming up next at Belmont, of course, next Saturday. The race that everybody can't wait for, the Belmont Stakes, 153rd edition, where we have all kinds of faces returning from the Derby, Preakness winner returning, some new faces entering the mix as well.
It's what it is kind of is, without obviously the Derby winner, it's all the horses from the Preakness that you kind of wished ran, I mean from the Derby that you kind of wished ran back in the Preakness. against Rombauer, who put in this tremendous performance and took this big step forward, winning his first dirt race. So it's really an interesting race as far as sort of settling the score a bit in the 3-year-old division. And I think a lot of people think Essential Quality is going to bounce back, which he very well may. I'm certainly not saying against him. But I got to tell you something. I'm not saying that Rombauer is going to run back to that Preakness, but if he does and builds on it, Phil could be in trouble. That was a very good performance by him.
Seems like a horse who can run all day long. That 1.5 miles is the big question for all these runners in this race. And pace-wise, Dan, we talked about who's going to be up front early, and it looks like the 2 West Coast horses are going to be forward. Hot Rod Charlie, Rock Your World.
Rock Your World's my horse. I'm just putting the pedal to the metal, just going to the front with him and, just try to wire the field. He ran so well. And I think the question also with him is, I'm willing to dismiss his Derby, even though, and he had trouble to start. I get it. But he didn't run a step. But, you want to use that. It
ended his day.
Yeah. But he also did win on a very good inside. Speed was extremely good in the dirt that day at Santa Anita. So he has questions to answer, but I think he's going to be the speed of the speed, and we'll see if Hot Rod Charlie can stalk him. Essential Quality does feel like a horse that can sort of gallop along at his own clip and just keep running. On the other hand, are you dying to take 2-1 on him in that spot? And I think he's going to be.
You think he'll be that short?
2-1, 5-2. I mean, I can ask David Argona what morning line he's thinking of making. He's probably already working on it, or probably already done it, frankly. And I don't know. I think he'll be pretty short in there. People love that horse, Greg, and rightfully so.
Well,
he's a very good horse, right?
It's only defeat. He had plenty of excuses in the Derby.
But he's had it's the first time he got less than a perfect trip. And he didn't win. And I don't want to discount the Hot Rod Charlies of the world and Rombauer. And I feel like Rombauer may be a little Rodney Dangerfield in here. What do you think?
I think
not
so.
Get the respect he deserves. And we'll see. Maybe he'll show off the Belmont he didn't deserve it. But I loved his Preakness.
Well, meanwhile, Joel Rosario getting back aboard Rock Your World for John Sadler. So that'll be fun to watch next Saturday. And again, we're going to have our preview show Friday night. You don't want to miss it. Coming through the draw, or coming through the tunnel. Yeah, our draw show, 11 a.m. Eastern on Tuesday.
How excited are you to have an extra half an hour with me on sort of an odd day on Tuesday? I mean, you're not going to sleep on Monday night. It's going to be, I know I'm excited, Greg, so I can only imagine how you feel.
I can't wait. Here's Barron, who comes in off that win we showed you, the Gold Fever, here at Belmont at 6 furlongs.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse, and he's the horse to beat in here. I'm not going to argue. He's supposed to try to wire him.
Fauci debuted on dirt. It was a good surface. He was second, and he's been on turf since.
Yeah, but he ran well enough first time out in the dirt that I would not discount him.
Thin White Duke, it just seems like he has to take a big move forward.
He does, and he didn't run his return. He's owned by friends of mine, including the former head of the DRF, Steve Christ, and legendary Steve Christ. But, he's going to have to step forward.
3-2 zone. Kendrick Carmouche cutting back in distance out of that Pat Day mile.
I'm fascinated to see what this horse does because, like we were talking about, that race 2 back, he runs that race. They better be ready for him because that was a super effort.
2 minutes to post in our feature here at Belmont coming up. And how about this promo? 50, 50, 50. Bet $50 each at Belmont, Santa Anita, and Lone Star. And you get a $15 bonus.
That's tomorrow, right?
Win or lose, tomorrow. That is tomorrow on Memorial Day.
Big day for Lone Star, right? They got the...
We do have one for today, I'm being told.
We do.
Belmont.
Pimlico. Churchill.
And Pimlico. And you also get that bonus.
That's correct.
So that's for today. We have tomorrow as well. That includes Lone Star. Minute to post here at Belmont. Let's go to Jonathan Kinchin.
Yeah, guys, I like the one Barron in here. We talked about it earlier. It was my best bet of the day. And if you keep the price right here at 9-5, I feel good about that. I was feeling a little bit guilty when I said it. I thought this horse would be shorter than that. But for whatever reason, people just love to bet these Wesley Ward 2-year-olds who we learn their names and we picture them going to Ascot and winning in front of the Queen, and then suddenly we overbet them for the rest of their careers. I mean, I would argue, did Fauci like the dirt on debut and run well on debut because of the dirt, or did Fauci run well because it's a Wesley Ward 2-year-old in June? I would think it's probably the latter. I mean, I think it's Wesley Ward 2-year-olds. They just have huge advantages, and I don't want to trick myself that this horse likes the dirt. Can he win? Absolutely. I think Barron is the more likely winner. And Wolfie, as far as 3-2 zone is concerned, I'm more of a 2-3 zone man myself. Shout out to Jim Behan.
I'm a 2-2-1 guy myself, JK, but I feel you. That's been a pretty successful defense for Boeheim over the years.
I want to say, in all seriousness, that is a sensational point that Jonathan just made, in my opinion.
The Wesley Ward point.
The fact that he
used to be with him, Fauci.
Right, he was a firster for Wesley Ward. His horses are cranked up to run first time. They always have speed.
And they usually win if they're...
Yeah, and they run really well. Now, he did lose some races last year. He's still got a good fig. I'm not knocking the effort, but I think Jonathan makes a great point. Can we really trust this horse to run back there? I'm shocked he's favored. I still think the one will be favored at post time. I'd bet on it.
To downstairs to Maggie.
And for those not familiar with this new trainer of Fauci, Phil Antonacci, he is a graduate of the Godolphin Flying Start program, and his dad part of Lindy Farm. So we do see him with several of his family's horses. And you see this guy's been training now at Monmouth, where Phil is stabled. But number one, Barron looks apart. I think he should be favored, to be honest, because I think he has that more proven dirt form. He looks fantastic, great hindquarters to him. I can say Thin White Duke, long shot here, picks up Joel Rosario, a lot more settled his second start off the layoff, as we will throw it up to John and Brielle with the call of today's Paradise Creek.
In the gate. And they're off. Fauci steadied just a bit right after the start and is the trailer. Barron is the leader here in the early going. Barron in front by a length and a half as 3-2 Zone is running in second, followed by Thin White Duke and Fauci. Barron leads here by a length and a half. 3-2 Zone is in second. Now it's 3.5 lengths back to the two trailers, Thin White Duke and Fauci. The quarter went in 22 and 4/5 seconds over the sloppy track, and Barron leads here by a little more than a length. 3-2 Zone in pursuit in second. Now it's almost 5 lengths back to Fauci and Thin White Duke as they go midway around the far turn. Barron has been in front right from the start, continues to lead. The lead's a length and a quarter. 3-2 Zone is in second. And then it's 4 lengths back to Fauci, who's being asked for more. Thin White Duke on the outside. The half was running 45 and 3. And it is Barron with the lead at the top of the stretch. 3-2 Zone in second, then Thin White Duke and Fauci. They're coming down for the 8th pole, and it is Barron with a 5-length lead. 3-2 Zone, Thin White Duke giving futile chase. It is Barron who will bound home here, much the best in the Paradise Creek Stakes. Barron the winner, and it's a photo for second to complete the exacta, either 3-2 Zone or Thin White Duke.
Barron with the win. Poor break from Fauci, and Eric Cancel jumps to an easy lead out front, just keeps on going.
I'm going to say, Eric Cancel seems to be really on his game today, jumping horses out a lot. And Barron's a very good horse, too, and it helps to have the right horse. But you're right. I mean, let's be honest here, Greg. This race was over at the start. I mean, when he jumped out like that, the race was over, and the best horse, and he ended up the even money favorite, as we said he would. Nice to see Thin White Duke, who finished either third or second here, make a little bit of a run, improve from last time. But, geez, Barron was tons the best. And yeah, that was a great point that Jonathan made. I'll say it again about Fauci. It was more of a Wesley Ward thing last time. And if you think about it that way, it sort of made it easier to maybe play a 1-4 or 1-5. And I think the 5 held second.
Barron dominant here in the Paradise Creek. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, he did. 3-2 Zone ended up second here as Barron found it very easy on the front end. And to be fair, you know, sometimes we're hard on Eric. But I think he's been riding very well at this Belmont meet, and a lot of that does have to do with his agent PJ Campo, and talking with PJ and him, you know, telling me the serious conversations he has with Eric, because not only is an agent somebody to book your mounts for you, they're also somebody to give you a little bit of coaching, and somebody like PJ Campo who's been in the game his entire life and is a generational type of family involvement helps to have them in your corner. So congratulations to Eric Cancel and Butch Reed with this win with Barron.
Barron much the best here.
He's a nice horse, this horse, Barron, you know?
Very nice.
He really is. And his connections could have opted to take a shot in the Grade 1 Woody Stevens, but they were more conservative, taking a shot. And I think with the weather, even though they were trying to take a shot in the turf, they knew there was a chance it would come off, and they got the money. And this is a really good horse.
It's 7/8, no issue at all.
No.
Barron the win in the Paradise Creek. We'll be back to wrap it up and set the stage for the Nightcap coming up as well. Dominant performance from the son of Wygelia in our feature. We'll be back.
Wagering on the Twin Spires app is fast and easy, and new players can take advantage of our $200 sign-up offer right now. Simply use code GET200 to start earning your $200 new player bonus when you join Twin Spires today, where you can bet on Churchill Downs as well as the best racing from around the globe. Plus, if you're looking for help to find a winner, check out our expert picks available in the app for every race. Twin Spires. Download the app and bet today.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, check out americasbestracing.net today. Feature here at Belmont, the off-the-turf Paradise Creek, but the PA-bred Barron taking full advantage of that, and please be joined here with winning trainer Butch Reed. And Butch, coming in off the back of a win in the Gold Fever, he had trouble going back to the Bay Shore, but this was about as easy as a victory that you could ask for.
Well, I've had a bunch of these horses by Wygelia, and they all love the slop. So I had a pretty good feeling going into it.
Were you looking though to try him on the turf? Is that an option, or were you just looking at the weather forecast?
No, I really want to try him on the turf at some point. I'm glad it didn't happen today, but somewhere down the line we're going to try, because his father actually held the 7/8 track record here on the turf at Belmont. So there's turf on both sides of his family, and I've had a bunch of these, as I've said, and they run on the turf, but they really run on the slop.
That he did some quick fractions today. I got to ask you a question, too. Looking forward to next week. The Astoria for 2-year-old fillies debuting Vequist, younger sister, Mainstay. What can you tell us about her?
Well, she's a real exciting prospect. She's a lot different than Vequist. Vequist was a lot taller and languid, and you could tell she was a route horse in the beginning. This filly's a little sturdier. She's by a sprint stallion, Stern, so a little stockier and a little sturdier, but she's shown us some good ideas in the morning, so we might take a shot with her. Yep.
I like it. Looking forward to seeing her, but congratulations with Barron. Such a nice 3-year-old you have on your hands.
Thank you so much. Yep, it's a pleasure.
All right, well, Paradise Creek goes to Barron today. And Greg, what a wonderful PA bred. He can win against state breds and also easily handle open company here in New York.
Yeah, this was a nice performance, and obviously he handled the sloppy going. I think some of the others did not.
Yeah, I mean,
but
listen,
he's proven already he's a very good horse.
He is. I mean, listen, wet track races can be exaggerated sometimes, especially loose speeds like that. So I don't know that this race is, and I'm not knocking him, as you know, I'm a fan of this horse, but I'm not sure this is overly reflective of his ability. The question will come with him, is he going to be looking to bring him in Saratoga and run him in a race like the Amsterdam as a potential prep for the Grade 1 Alan Jerkins? I mean, at some point you might want to take a shot. We'll see. He's got to step forward to run against the big boys, but you can't knock him. He's run very well, good circumstances or not.
Here's a look at the pick 6 follow along with one leg left. And I cannot believe the returns it is paying. It's unbelievable. Right now, to the current favorite, it's coming back 34,000.
If we left it up there, I could have taken a better look and tell you what the odds. I think a lot of things happened. I don't think that the second, that set, let's just look at the parlay right now. You're looking at about $30. You're talking about 8 times $250. You're talking about $1,000, $1,100. The parlay's around $2,200 for $2. So it's around $1,100 for $1. But that third winner was not 7-1 in the pick 6. The first winner probably wasn't 5-1, and the second winner definitely was better than even money.
34,000 to the favorite.
I get it, but you do have a carryover. It's an even return, given how much was bet. And I think you could argue that it's probably not unfair to say that it's at least an exponential of 2 to say it's a $4,000 parlay. So I don't think it's that outrageous that they're big. I'm not surprised they're big at all.
9th at Churchill. Maiden special weight, Queen Bourbon. Favor right now, Ian Wilkes, Brian Hernandez Jr. This race, mile and an 1/8 on the turf coming up. As we get set for our post parade here, going to start with Surrealist for Kenny McPeak.
I bet this horse on Derby Day, and he lost by a nose, or she lost by a nose at even money, so I'm bitter. She's a big price of 5-1. She's got to get a mile and 1/8 though.
Candy Ann, rider change. Javier Padron Barcenas rides. Blinkers going on.
Seems like a long shot.
And 2 sprints stretching out has not shown much in those 2. 33-1. Coed's a first-time starter by American Pharoah.
Yeah, not really much pedigree though on the dam side for this one.
Here's the favorite, Queen Bourbon, 8-5 for Ian Wilkes.
I think this is a horrifically bad favorite in this race. This horse has burned money on the dirt and now gets to burn money on the turf. There's a little bit of pedigree for turf, but I think it's a terrible favorite.
Flying Gem, start number 2 for the Dale Romans, Filly by Mineshaft.
This is my interesting long shot in here. This horse is a huge pedigree for grass. Broke a little slow first time. I bet she runs a lot better today.
Robin's Fantasy is at 8-1.
Yeah, she had a pretty good trip last time. Didn't do much running.
Soma, 9-1, Jimmy Graham.
Wide in the first turn last time, but no run after that either.
Transient, 3-1 for Mark Cassidy, blinkers off.
Yeah, I mean, they have a very mild check last time.
Gam's Mission looked really good winning the Regret yesterday.
Yeah, I know, but this horse's races are just okay. She's a contender, and I don't think she's 3-1, but I'd use her before I used the 4.
Coming out of a race, you have first and second place finishers, 1 including Gam's Mission. Mummy Dearest, Michael Ewing trains.
Is that an ode to Joan Crawford?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
That is a great movie.
45-1 outside on Wendy's Fine Wine.
Yeah, I could get the price.
Minute to post. Take advantage of this new player offer with TwinSpires. Go to the website, twinspires.com, download the app, get 200, code to use at sign up. Jonathan, thoughts here in the 9th?
Yeah, I like the 9, Mummy Dearest. This is a horse that, one of my favorite angles, and I talk about it all the time. We could probably replace that as the drinking game. Horses closing into slow paces on turf races. It's my favorite angle. I feel like it gets missed very often. This horse broke slow, was far back. The pace was not fast. Still closed. 4th, beaten 3. That doesn't look great on paper, but it's much better than it looks. Will this horse win? Maybe. I'm going to bet the horse to win, but the horse is 10-1. This is the type of horse you want to try to juice up your exotics, whether you're playing an exacta, a trifecta, or a superfecta. These are the types of horses that you can make money off of. The 9, Mummy Dearest, the 8, Transient. Another one that you have to consider. The speed figures are fast. It's a lot shorter price than I would probably prefer on this horse, but the 8, Transient, does make sense. And I have to say that the E5 Racing Silks, although they're new, they're not the traditional silks of past. They are my favorite current silks. You could probably tell by some of the shirts I wear that I would like those silks. And then the 4, Queen Bourbon. I just want to say thanks to Seth Klarman for naming all of his horses after financial things, because when I looked to see policy option, I knew this had to be a half to a Klarovich runner, and I agree with Andy. I think a little bit over bet here. Maybe could jump up and like the turf, but at a short price, I'm going to try to go elsewhere. I'm going to go with the 9 with my official pick, but I think the 8 is a much more likely winner than the 4.
Yeah, I'm with JK on that. Saw Gam's mission again, win that Grade 3 Regret. Nice one for Cherie DeVoe. It's won, I believe, 3 in a row now.
Yeah. Listen, I had the 8 open here. I've made a small bet on the 5 Flying Gem. Hopefully this horse will get a better chance today, second time out. My main feeling in here is, I'm not saying Queen Bourbon can't win, but I think first time in the turf, this horse favored like this, I think she's a bad bet. She's had all these chances and not gotten it done. She could probably handle the turf, but just not my kind of horse. Surrealist, a big price at even money, but 5-1, by the way.
That's the rail horse. Robbie Alvarado for Kenny McPeak. Just missed by a nose, getting back on the ground. Both the turf starts have been very good from this filly. Beat by Ali Diva. First time at Kentucky Downs, had the lead, tried to go gate to wire, wound up second, almost 15-1. Behind Fluffy Talks, who'd come back and win again. It is a big price. Travis Stone with the 9th, this nightcap on the Sunday card here from Churchill Downs.
Waiting for Flying Gem and Wendy's Fine Wine. They're in the gate. And they're off. Wendy's Fine Wine, Candy Ann, those 2 fastest out of there. Queen Bourbon's not far behind. Surrealist is up close toward the rail, but Candy Ann steps on it early. Opens up to lead by 2.5 lengths by us the first time. Surrealist is up into second, and then it's Wendy's Fine Wine in third. Queen Bourbon is racing fourth. Mummy Dearest 3 wide fifth. Soma's in between while 6. Flying Gem down inside 7th. Transient comes away 8th. Coed is 9th and at the rail. The trailer is Robin's Fantasy. Moving into the clubhouse turn, and here's Surrealist now, who comes on to take the lead. So Surrealist opens up to lead by 2. Wendy's Fine Wine is second. Candy Ann was up top earlier, but is pulled back to be third while inside. And then it's 2 lengths farther back to Queen Bourbon, who comes away fourth and is 4 lengths off the lead midway down the backstretch run. Fractions 24 flat to a 48 in 2 half-mile time. Surrealist saunters up the backstretch run, holding on to the lead. Wendy's Fine Wine is getting a little bit closer from second, and they've sped off to lead by 4 to that far turn. Queen Bourbon has now moved up to be third. Candy Ann is back into fourth. Mummy Dearest is fifth and only 8 lengths off the lead, starting to put in a run. Then it's Flying Gem in between. Soma's asked to go now. Coed is bottled up inside. Transient and Robin's Fantasy. Surrealist coming for the top of the stretch, opening up to a 4-length advantage now. Surrealist turning for home in front. Queen Bourbon moves into second and is set down for the drive. Flying Gem comes on to grab third, and then it's Mummy Dearest in fourth. Coming for the 8th pole. Surrealist still clear by 3. Queen Bourbon's trying to get by from second. Switch leads right there at the 8th pole. Surrealist leads down to 1.5 lengths. Here comes Queen Bourbon after Surrealist. Surrealist is desperate for the wire. Queen Bourbon surges to win it. Queen Bourbon runs down Surrealist. Mummy Dearest was third, Flying Gem, and Transient.
Favorite does get the win. Queen Bourbon, Ian Wilkes, Brian Hernandez Jr., first time on the turf and up for the win.
Got the money. Didn't like this one. The public was right. She wore her down. Surrealist found the 1 1/8 too far. 2 times in a row. Surrealist has taken brutal beats, being nailed at the wire.
3 times in a row on the turf.
You're right, but these are photos. I mean, it was only beaten like 3/4 the first time out, but these are 2 photos this horse has lost. But the other horse just came and got her. Couldn't quite get the final distance, 1 1/8. No excuse, but the distance is the excuse.
4-1-9, timed beautifully by Brian Hernandez Jr. and Queen Bourbon here, daughter of Empire Maker. The switch to the lawn, and she breaks her maiden, getting by a tough beat here for Surrealist. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Nightcap from Belmont ahead.
What constitutes a great sire? Results.
Never Surprised, looking to go wire to wire here, and Never Surprised has got it won.
Versatility.
'tis the law. He's left the others behind. 'Tis the law.
A foundation for the future.
Olympic runner for the lead. Venezuelan hug late. Venezuelan hug. Venezuelan hug shook free.
Constitution has it all.
Come and get Army Mule, who's pulling away by 5 and finishing fast. Army Mule, ultra impressive in the Cartery follow. Won it by 6.
A 10, top 20 here. We can hold on the turn. 221, 210,000.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day of the Races on Fox Sports 2 programs brought to you by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We're 11 minutes to post here on our Nightcap coming up here at Belmont. We're going to close out the card on Sunday with a 6-furlong sprint. New York breds in a $25,000 maiden claiming event. So they're all up for purchase, all trying to get that first win of their career. And the favorite right now outside Casilda 40 Tails.
Yeah, I'm not shocked she's favored. She ran a fast figure and slop 2 races back. It's a horse you and I talked about last time. It was wildly overbet on the turf. She goes back to the right surface. She has speed to be forwardly placed. She has Irad Ortiz. She's one of the ones. She's got to deal, though, with the speed potentially of the 6 Esoticos, dangerous dropping down, and the 4 Obladi for Beetle fans who took a brutal beat to a horse Sweeter, who did come back and run reasonably well yesterday in the last race going long. And I think all of these horses are alive in here, Greg.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, I can echo the same sentiment. I feel like there's a lot of different options and ways you can go and paths you can take here in this last to close things out. It's a full field, as we'll take a look, though, at one who doesn't have much experience, and that is the first-time starter, number 8, Danny Deep Cuts. Daughter of Not This Time, New York bred. The dam was proficient in dirt sprinting. Wasn't of the highest quality, but, you know, at least she won some races. And she definitely looks like a sprinting type. Smaller but well-balanced, a little bit more of that broader type of look to her. She's well-conditioned heading in here. I'm not in love with her walk. She's not very athletic when it comes to walking around the paddock, and sometimes a way a horse walks is a good indication of what you might see out on the racetrack. So with that being said, I might take the wait and see approach with her, as number 9, Decreed, will move from the turf to the dirt in her second start. Daughter of Jimmy Creed. I mean, she's a half to a 7-time dirt winner, so it makes sense. I didn't think she was much of a turf horse. I didn't think she was much of a runner at all when she debuted, despite taking some money in that maiden 40. My biggest complaint with her is that she lacked a lot of muscle mass in conditioning, and she has emerged out of that effort looking far stronger than what she did going in. So she got what she needed out of that, and I do think she lands in the right spot on the right surface this time around. But as far as your current favorite is concerned, on the way outside is number 13, Casilda 40 Tails. Again, another one moving from turf to dirt. This is what she wants to do, 2 back off that extended layoff, running well on a sloppy racetrack. Really, Greg, she looks the best here. She's got the size. Yes, she is a little bit older than most of these in here, but just her coat didn't look great in that last start. Now she's dappled. It looks rich and hydrated. She looks like a happy horse. Like I said, there's a lot of options, but I'm not afraid of taking her as a favorite at 3-1 currently.
Yeah, I thought what you said, I think she is the one. Well, I thought with Irad aboard too, I'm surprised not taking more money.
Well, there's a whole lot of horses in this race, and she has had her share of chances. I mean, I'm not I have no knock on her. I thought she was one of the players, but I also picked her 4th in this race. I think the 6 says Tika's going to run better in here. I was scared of the firster. I know Maggie wasn't thrilled, and she's probably right with Dan Deep Cuts. Mine was just a guess for a trainer that wins with firsters. I think the 5 Roxon is a little bit interesting because the pace could heat up a little bit in this race. And Roxon really ran okay first time out. I know it wasn't much of a field, but there are no killers in here. And the number 5 Roxon, I mean, she broke a half slow, and she just dropped completely and totally out of the race, and she was really running in the end. And if you're one of those gallop out people, she really galloped out strongly in there, and I get it. It just probably wasn't much of a field, and these are the kind of horses that often sucker you in, but I'm hoping they move up front.
No, I'm with.
I just thought she was kind of interesting, and I bet a few dollars to win on Roxon, but I think there's a lot. I mean, well, honestly, the 13, I get that she's favored, but do you really think she should be that short? Anybody should be that short a price here?
I thought 5 to 2 was fair.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I know you're not saying 8 to 5. 5 to 2 is fine. I don't think she should be much lower.
Okay. Back at Churchill, Queen Bourbon. Brian Hernandez Jr. just up in time, getting by Surrealist, who tried to win this thing on the front end.
Yeah, Surrealist is kind of. I mean, no excuse for Surrealist. I'm not making one. She had the right pace and just couldn't get the mile and 1/8, and Queen Bourbon came and got her. Public was right. I was wrong. It happens. It's horse racing. Gotta have opinions.
Empire Maker out of a more than ready mare for Bourbon Lane Stable, 6-column stable. Ian Wilkes trains, and again, Brian Hernandez Jr. aboard for that win to close out the Sunday card from Churchill Downs. $5.40 for the win. And the pick 6, $1,180. We return here with some big numbers if you're alive in this pick 6 coming up. Here's the 1. Ooh, even the 1 only started once, split a 9-horse field. I don't prefer this horse, but it wouldn't be the shock of all shocks, would it? The 1?
My Little Lulu? She would surprise me, but her trainer won with an impressive performance earlier, and we saw him at Aqueduct have 2 big wins one day, so who knows?
And ran very good, hitting the board earlier with...
Correct.
Was that the first?
I'm not going out on a limb on anybody in this race.
Feels like that kind of race, and it's that barn we're talking about, by the way, Oscar Barrera. So 13 to 1 there. Post parade here coming up. We'll see if anyone stands out. From a looks perspective, holding it 5 to 2 as the favorite. Gazilda 40 Tails came off about a 1.5-year layoff for State Bred Maiden 40, and was in front, had the lead, wound up 3rd for that State Bred Maiden 40. Then tried Turf. That was in the slot, by the way. Ran pretty good over it. Now drops to State Bred Maiden 25.
No, she should have won 3 races back. Frankly, Gazilda 40 Tails shouldn't even be in this race. With a stronger ride 3 races back, she would have broken her maiden and the long layoff. I have no knock on her whatsoever. I think she's one of the major players in here. But I'm not, I wouldn't use the 11, Tiny Magoo, seems a little bit ridiculous. The 1, Good Luck, Emerald Banker, the 7. But after that, 3's a firster, 4, 5, 6, 8's a firster. I suppose the 9's not impossible in the 13. I mean, there's a lot of live horses in this race. I think you'll agree.
You think the 11 has no chance?
Yes, I think the 11 has no chance. The 11's had so many chances against bad fields. I wouldn't bet the 11 in a million years.
Here's My Little Lulu, 14 to 1.
I think we've covered My Little Lulu. And F&X. I remember her damn Funky Monkey Mama ran around here not too many years ago.
April Antics comes in with a bullet gate drill. First timer here for Jimmy Ryerson.
She's taking some nibbles. 4 of the foals ran buyer figures in the 60s. Would be good enough to win here.
Obladi.
Oblada.
Life goes on. 7 to 1.
Last time was a heartbreaking defeat, but certainly possible as the main speed with Kendrick.
Yep, speed with Carmouche. Roxon here, 2nd-time starter, Mike Lezzi.
Hopefully she's a more professional and she's able to stay close to the field, and hopefully there's hitting up front for her. I'm taking a small shot. Small shot.
Exotica for Mike Maker with Luis Saez.
She's dropping. She's never run at this lower level, which I think helps her, and I thought she was very dangerous.
Blinkers on, a horse coming off a layoff dating back to December of 2019.
Can Omar Hernandez win 2?
Had his first career win earlier on the card.
I love that when that happens.
Got
That's
doused.
always fun. That's always cool. That's good for him. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Danny Deep Cuts, first time starter by not this time.
I want to know who Danny is, and I want to know about his deep cuts. How about you?
I would like to know.
I'm
Maybe
text
maybe
Michael
we'll
Dub
find
right
out
now.
in the post-race interview.
Michael.
Decreed, Brad Cox debuted on grass.
I mean, this move has not worked well for him. How about this one? In sprints on the turf to dirt, maiden second-time starters, 1 for 12. Not a good stat.
Here's Tiny Magoo, Manny Franco, 7-1.
Yeah, he's had his chances. Too many for me.
Second in the slop at this level,
Too many
two
for
back. Here is the favorite, 3-1, with Irad Ortiz Jr. looking for number 3 today.
Back at the right surface and dropping down to the lowest level. Yeah, it's just been a long day.
Long weekend for you. We got another day. So
I'm about to hibernate.
I
feel
told you, conserve your energy.
I'm conserving. I slept 11.5 hours last night. I'm freezing up here.
You could play this nightcap coming up. All our Belmont week coverage, Saratoga all summer long with NyraBets. Get signed up. Start it. Go to nyrabets.com, download the app, and take advantage of a free $25 Belmont play with the promo code Belmont25 for new members at sign up. Again, play any track, anywhere, anytime with NyraBets. Go to nyrabets.com or download that app. Jonathan Kinchin, take us out a winner.
Well, I got to be honest. I thought the 8 Danny Deep Cuts was named after our man Danny Glow in the truck, our director Danny Glow. At least that's what I thought when I first saw it. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, I like the 6 Esotica, and there's an angle that I had just read about and some book that I read when I first started getting involved in the game about speed and fade, maiden special weight, dropping a maiden claimer. Now, I do think as a whole that's a lazy angle. There's got to be a lot more to it, but I do like the fact that 2 races back, Esotica showed unbelievable early speed, had very, very fast pace figures, and just couldn't hold on versus maiden special weight types. Now, they tried the turf, trying to figure out what was going on. For 40,000 maiden claimers. Now they drop even lower, and I just feel like this horse is one of those get loose on the front end, and they just don't, and just doesn't come back to them. Now, it's also possible that Esotica will get to the front and then stop like she always has. But I think that at 5-1, I'm willing to try to figure that out. The 13 towards the outside, Casilda 40 tails. This is a speed figure play. When you're looking at all these horses, like Andy mentioned, there's only about 3 in here, in my opinion, that can't win. There's a whole bunch of maybes. But there's not really a maybe with the 13. You know what you're getting. The speed figures can absolutely win this race. It's just a matter of this one kind of running to those numbers, or if someone else kind of jumps up, one of the first-time starters. So hopefully Maggie can point us out if there's a firster we need to be aware of, or at least point us to a horse that has run that's looking good.
Yeah, JK, the firsters, they do go for dangerous outfits, and Jimmy Ryerson and Brittany Russell respectively, but none of them wowed me. And when you need to kind of at least grab my attention when we're dealing with these maiden claimers, because the horses who have run, they do look a bit better. And as JK was pointing out, there might be a little bit of, upside with Esotica. For me, she was the one who won me over in the warm-up. I liked her in the paddock. I think this is the right spot, the right level for her. She's going to have to possibly deal with some other speed types in here, including Obladi and your favorite in Casilda 40 Tails. But she has Louis Saez on, and in Louis I trust, and he'll figure out what to do. She's ultimately going to be my pick in here, Greg.
9-2. So Maggie, Jonathan agree. There is a lot to like with this filly in this spot, and it's, I guess the question is, Kendrick on the 4. How much pressure can he put on this horse?
Yeah, I mean, I got to think that the 4 is going to go. I mean, he's got to go in this race. I think the 6, I think I picked him second or third, and is a very dangerous horse in here. I don't want 2-1 in the 13, because I just agree with the general sense that Jonathan was talking about. There are a lot of maybes in here. Not saying the horse is the horse to beat, but I feel like there's a possibility they're going to be moving up front. And I think when you throw in the fact that the riders are acutely aware of how well horses have been doing the last couple of days with speed, that incentivizes them to be aggressive.
And look at the favorite, too. The 13, last time she was on the main track, she was on the lead. So how aggressive is Irad going to be here outside?
He's not taking her back. I think it's, we'll see.
The 4, the 6, the 13, they're all quick.
This could heat up.
We'll see if it sets up for someone from off the pace. 9-5 now. That late money 8-5 coming in on the 13 Casilda 40 Tails. Again, Irad Ortiz Jr. looking for number 3. Pace early on in this race is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I'm hoping that it all falls apart and my number 5 horse can come flying down the stretch. A small bet in that one, but this is not an easy race. Be a fun race, though. Good luck if everybody's alive. A friend who has an all, by the way.
Here is...
A friend has an all in here in the pick 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so hope for big numbers there. That Jose Lezcano in the 3. Bullet Gate Drill coming in for the debut. 48-2.
Not my kind of horse, but I'm not knocking a firster. Who knows? I mean...
Welcome to those who've been watching college baseball on Fox. You're joining us just in time for the nightcap. We're going to sneak it in for you here. The 9th at Belmont, the favorite, Casilda 40 Tails. The 13 here, Irad Ortiz Jr. looking for number 3 to close out this card at Belmont on a 2-day carryover. And we have massive returns in this pick 6 wager coming up for what's come in today.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. Been an interesting day of racing. Glad you're joining us.
There is Irad Ortiz Jr. on the favorite in here. We mentioned the 4, the 6, and even the 13. They could all be part of this early pace. We're set for the finale. Let's go upstairs to John Imbrial.
They're all in the gate. And they're off. Slow starts for both Danny Deepcuts and Emerald Banker. Esotica is out for the lead. From the outside, it is Tiny Magoo and Casilda 40 Tails. Then My Little Lulu is racing in 4th. Obladi runs in 5th, 2.5 lengths to Decreed in 6th. And on the inside is Roxon as they go around the far turn. Up front, it is Esotica and Casilda 40 Tails. They are heads apart for the lead. Tiny Magoo is next in 3rd. Obladi runs in 4th. Farther back, it's My Little Lulu. Then comes Decreed. Roxon. On the inside is April Antics. On the outside is Danny Deepcuts. And away out of it is Emerald Banker. The half was running 45-4. Here's Casilda 40 Tails. Esotica battles on at the rail. And Tiny Magoo's on the outside. So it's 3 of them across with a furlong to the finish. Casilda 40 Tails. Narrow lead on the outside. Tiny Magoo. Esotica down towards the fence. They come on for the finish now. It's Casilda 40 Tails and Tiny Magoo. Tiny Magoo steadied there at the end. Casilda 40 Tails got to the wire first. Tiny Magoo was second. Then Esotica and April Antics.
Casilda 40 Tails, number 3 for Irad Ortiz Jr. goes off as the 9-5 post-time favorite. Bob Glaceris and Philly by 40 Tails took her 7 starts. Finally breaks her maiden.
And Irad, listen, put her in the spot. You had to. The number 6, an aggressive ride on that horse, and that was the right move, obviously, by Luis Saez. Obadi couldn't hang on with those horses, and Casilda 40 Tails gets it done. Tiny Magoo's had a perfect trip. Anybody but Tiny Magoo probably would have gone by. The first-time starter, April Antex, I pointed her out to you top of the stretch, Greg, and I said, let's watch this one. She seemed to be running, and I have a friend who was alive for her for a score. Just came up a little short, but they were moving up front. I mean, for this quality of horse, 22-3 in this track, 45-4, that's fast.
13, 11, and 6.
And 3.
As you take a look at the head on here.
They were tired. Oh, we think Irad came out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that seemed, was that right at the wire? That may have been right at the wire. Irad likes to come out.
Wow.
No, he's driven out.
Want
to watch that again,
hold
guys,
on. 13, 11, 6, and 3. Let's take another
look. Are we holding
look.
Our own inquiry? Okay, they're not near the wire here. Right now, nothing's going on. And Irad is hitting righty. It's not like he's trying to come out. In fact, the horse is really coming out. This one is not on Irad. Irad is really hitting this horse hard righty. So the fact that this horse came out, it seems like that was right at the wire. And listen, I'm not saying there wasn't something there, but I tell you one thing, Irad was not at fault there, and I'll be critical of him. He was trying to keep this horse to
Inquiry sign is up. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, I just heard the phone ring, and usually that's the first indication that there's going to be an inquiry and or objection, as it happened close to the wire. And two, I don't know how much stewards take into this, but you could see with Irad using his crop right-handed and Tiny Magoo to his outside, he actually does come down, I think, and catch the other horse and catch Tiny Magoo, whether in the nose or in the neck. So we do see the riders, as I'm in the way, going into the room here to talk to the stewards, Manny Franco, who was aboard Tiny Magoo here. They should take a look at this, and rightfully so. I'm not sure if it had any bearing on the outcome of this race, and that is ultimately what the stewards will try to determine. Greg?
Yeah, we look at it again, and you'll see that Naira Bet sign up. So it is before the wire, so... Yeah, this is interesting.
I kind of feel like Maggie feels the same way I do. I think we're both kind of neutral here looking at this. I am not going to deny there was contact made. Now, I don't think the time was going by because she kind of had her chance to go by and she had sort of hung at that point. That doesn't mean that you're not supposed to look at it and maybe even take down the horse who finished first. I probably would not take this horse down. I've seen worse, but I don't know. Let's watch.
This tells the story a little better. Solid bump?
Yeah, I've seen worse.
They let him play a little bit more on a sloppy track,
well,
usually?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to get... I could see this horse coming down. I don't think this is really worthy of a takedown. This horse drifts. There's no doubt about it. We can look at the paths. In this case, Irad is completely blameless. I mean, he was hitting this horse right. He tried to keep this horse in. I think that gets a little bit to what you were saying, Greg.
Well, and before the bump even happens, the 11 is forced to go wider than wanted to a couple of times just to react to get away from that horse.
Yeah, but we don't adjudicate hurting here,
okay,
Greg. We never adjudicate hurting here. So that may be true. And that wasn't even significant hurting. So I'm not buying that argument, but that's fine.
No, I'm just letting you know. I'm not saying that
that's fine.
There was an infraction there. But then the bump does come, and it's a solid bump.
It was a bit of a bump. I'm not sure. I'd have to watch it in real motion, how strong it was. I get it. I'm very neutral here. I'm sorry for people that are involved. If you have the 11, I hope you get put up. If you have the 13, I hope you stay up. I don't have a dog in this fight, honestly. I think it stays because I think it's very neutral. But I'm not going to say it's a terrible call if they take the horse down.
It's Manny Franco on the 11. Irad Ortiz Jr., who you see on your screen right now. That would be win number 3 for him today, but it is in jeopardy right now. And he, as you said, he did everything he could to try and correct this horse on a couple of occasions, going back to the right hand with the riding crop. So it's definitely not on Irad. This horse just getting out. One more look.
Yeah, Yeah, no, Irad's completely blameless here. Completely blameless. No, you're right, Greg. That's a legitimate bump. That's fair. I wish that I could see it, and there's no change. And I like the call. I don't believe the 13 was going to lose this race, and I don't believe Justice would. I don't think it would have been a terrible takedown.
Okay.
But I think this is the right call by the stewards in this case, because I just don't believe the 11 was going by.
All right, fair enough. And can I just say real quick the difference, what it would have been in the pick 6?
Go ahead.
34,000 to your winner. It would have been over 100,000 to Tiny Magoo, but not to be.
A friend of mine just texted me. He said he needed a 13 for the score, so I know he's coming down. And fortunately for him, he did not.
We will wrap up this nightcap from Belmont when we return. 3-win day for Irad Ortiz Jr. with a little drama here in the finale.
A Grade 1 winner on both dirt and turf, War of Will became a classic winner with this victory in the Preakness Stakes. This year, he added turf credentials to his resume with a determined victory in the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile, a winner and Grade 1 placed at 2, multiple graded stakes victor at 3, and Grade 1 winner again at 4. This son of War front has proven his class at every level. A classic winner with a stallion's pedigree. War of Will, standing in 2021 at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, the program's brought to you by NyraBets, where you can play every race that we bring you. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NyraBets app or go to nyrabets.com. Belmont 25, code to use for new members that sign up and get a free $25 play in the Belmont Stakes. Irad Ortiz Jr. had to survive an inquiry here in the last with a little bumping of that 11, Tiny Magoo and Manny Franco, but he gets his third win of the night.
Yeah, and you know, and I think when it comes to disqualifications, I feel like, and this was a legitimate bump, I'm not suggesting, I think we can all agree that there was somewhat of a foul committed. But let's be honest, it's just, it seemed, is it impossible at effective finish? I suppose it's not. When was this horse showing that she was going by Tiny Magoo?
It didn't seem like it.
Yeah, I think the race was decided at that point. I'm glad they didn't make a decision, and I have no dog in this fight whatsoever.
Pick 5. Our producer may have hit this afternoon, 1100. Well done, nice handicapping.
You know, there's a rule, right, that the producers don't get paid if they cash a nice ticket every week, right?
Well, no, there's a rule they take the whole crew out to dinner if they hit. Pick 6.
I'll take the cash instead.
34,000. I still can't believe this payoff. 34,876 with what came in.
Yeah, I mean 12,
701 to beat, 5 to 1, 7 to 1 is all you had to have.
900 times 6. So parlay's a little under $6,000 for $2, so $3,000 for $1. I mean, there are things you can say. It wasn't even mine the second leg. The third leg was a bigger price. And the reality you have to remember is that because of the diffusion of takeout, the pick 6 rates to pay over 60% more than the parlay. So you're getting that there. But still, I'll agree with you. It's a big payoff.
153rd running of the Belmont. It is Saturday coming up. This is the field that will line up, including the Kentucky Derby favorite who went into that race undefeated, Essential Quality, and had some excuses in that race, including a wide trip.
He was due some excuses, but he's probably the one to beat. I'm just looking forward to it the whole weekend. Got Thursday's card here.
He will be the favorite on Belmont Day.
He will.
All right, Essential Quality. He'll be the one to beat, but there's many good ones lining up, including Hot Rod Charlie, Rock Your World coming in from the West Coast. It was Barron in the Paradise Creek. Impressive. Getting to the lead under Eric Hensel and with Gate to Wire for the win. Belmont Trophy, who will take it on Saturday? Third and final leg of the Triple Crown coming up. We're going to have coverage all week, including the draw on Tuesday. We will see you tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern start time on FS2. See you then.
Caraconti, a leading sire amongst his crop by percentage of stakes horses. Caraconti is off to a strong start at stud. Top runners include graded stakes winners Kenzai Warrior and Sol Volante. Plus, 2-year-old stakes winner Spanish Love Affair and dual surface dynamo Princess Grace.
To Princess Grace.
A rising star with graded stakes winners on both dirt and turf. Caraconti, standing at Gainesway.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
The ultimate accolade for a racehorse is to be named Horse of the Year. To be enshrined to the Hall of Fame is to achieve immortality. As a stallion, genetic immortality is defined in 2 words: breed shaper, plain and simple. 2-time Horse of the Year and Hall of Fame inductee, Curlin, is just that. Breed shaper, Curlin, the classic sire.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York Reds start with an advantage. New York Reds run for serious green at Belmont and Saratoga. New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000.